Looking here. Not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Can you remember any time in your life when you were starstruck?
One time I saw Peter Vesey, the NBA columnist for the New York Post. He was in the Herald sports department. I really liked his column, so I went up and introduced him.
Hey, Howie.
Yes. Visits of Cousin Brucey.
Do you ever play bridge anymore?
No, I haven't played bridge in a very long time. Nobody I know plays bridge. I think my bridge days are behind me.
Do you think you'd still be good at it?
I'm not a great bidder, but I know how to count cards. That to me is the essence of playing a hand of bridge, is to be able to count cards.
What is a rhino?
Rhino is a Republican in name only. Think Paul Ryan. Oh, think Mitt Romney. Think Jeff Flake.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying.
Hitler was a Christian.
Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman.
Did you have tanning lotion on?
A little, I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a surgeon general. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Oh, no.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Mike Bloomberg is spending millions of dollars on all of his campaign ads, but we put together some of our favorite Bloomberg clips, and guess what, Mike? This one's totally free.
I think we disproportionately stop whites too much and minorities too little. To be a farmer, it's a process. So you dig a hole, you put a seed in, you put dirt on top, add water, up comes the corn. Then we had 300, you could learn that.
Donald Trump is the world's biggest schoolyard bully.
Big gay ice cream is the best. The Communist Party wants to stay in power in China, and they listen to the public. When the public says, I can't breathe the air, Xi Jinping is not a dictator. He has to satisfy his constituents, or he's not going to survive.
He's not a dictator?
No, he has a constituency to answer to.
I'm ready to get to work, so let's get it on.
I would be 79 years old when I took office. To start a 4-year job, maybe an 8-year job at age 79 may not be the smartest thing to do.
Why did you say what you said in that 2015 speech?
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases cases, people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, but is morbidly obese.
Oh, I don't respond to her. I think she's a waste of time.
A few moments later.
Pelosi is a sick woman. She's got a lot of problems, a lot of mental problems.
You're asking me about the appropriateness of the actions of this president of the United States. He comes in with doggy-do on his shoes.
Oh, it's all right. I'm sure that we can handle this situation maturely, just like the responsible adults that we are. Isn't that right, Mr. Poopy Pants?
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Yesterday, I met with the general prosecutor Soto.
Yeah.
And despite of the fact that we didn't have any corruption charges, he bring me the written statement of his resignation.
Great.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
I am prepared to do a public signing of the commitment for the $1 billion. Again, I'm not suggesting that that's what you want or don't want.
Listen carefully and watch me wink as I speak, okay?
I'm just suggesting.
Howie, just remember we're keeping the segment a little short.
Right. Right. What time you want me to get out?
Unstoppable.
We're going to create a new...
like 3:12, 3:15.
Okay.
Look, you know...
Should I do the poll question in this segment?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome. This is Radio Free New England, broadcasting from a not-so-secret location in free America. The freedom-loving, liberty-loving territories that are not under police state lockdown control. And I have a new survey has just come out by a magazine, and they did a survey of what are the most police state fascistic regimes in the United States. We're number 48 in Massachusetts. Or should I say you're number 48 in Massachusetts? The only ones more restrictive than Governor Charlie Parker's lockdown are Rhode Island under Gina Raimondo and Illinois under Democrat Governor J.B. the Hutt Pritzker. So Charlie Baker has vowed to get the state of Massachusetts down to the absolute most repressive third world banana republic, East German-like state around. And just above Massachusetts, incidentally, is Vermont. This is really nice that these Republican governors, Scott in Vermont and the reputed Republican governor of Massachusetts, are right at the bottom, 47 and 48. And it's kind of a strange list, you know. The freest state is South Dakota, obviously, you know, with the female governor. They were never shut down. And the second freest state, believe it or not, is Wisconsin, which was in a massive lockdown. But then the Supreme Court of Wisconsin threw everything out, and Tony Evers waved the white flag, although a red flag would have been more appropriate given his political proclivities. And so Wisconsin is now the second most together state when it comes to freedom. And the other New England states, incidentally, Maine, believe it or not, is the freest of the states, number 34, and followed by New Hampshire. It's hard to believe New Hampshire is more locked up than Maine, but that's what it is according to this. And of course, then there's Connecticut, which just opened up today. Anyway, we have a lot planned today. We're going to have at least two guests that have gotten tweets this very day from the President of the United States. One of them is Frank Mendoza, the owner of Monica's restaurant. We had his brother on briefly at the end of last night's show. And he went off on a beautiful rant on Channel 25. We're going to have him on. He's great, talking about the restaurants. And we're also going to have on one of the other victims of the Mueller police state Star Chambers proceedings, and that's Roger Stone. He'll be with us in studio here for an hour from 4 to 5. So we got a lot planned today. And we also are going to have on the owner of the gym much later, the owner of the gym in Oxford. I think his name is David Blondin, excuse me. And he's opened his gym in Oxford, just defying the Stasi and the people who've done such a bang-up job in state government with the nursing homes and the New England Compounding Pharmacy and the Department of Children and Families and the Mass State Police and the MBTA and the Department of Public Health with their crooked chemists ingesting all the drug evidence and 38,000 criminal cases being thrown out the window. Yeah, these are the people you want running your life, right? 844-500-4242. And so I guess Morning Joe today said that Donald Trump was 75, but and so Donald Trump shot back, let's open the closed case, meaning the dead intern in his office when he used to be a congressman. But that cut from Nancy Pelosi saying he had doggy do on his shoes. I mean, that was our poll question yesterday. Which of these, which is further gone, Biden or Pelosi? And I voted for Biden. But a couple more days with talking about doggy do on the shoes of the president of the United States, and hey, I could have been persuaded to change my vote.
What's that about?
That's what I want to know. Nancy, go have some Jennies. $12 a pint out of your Sub-Zero freezer. Okay, we've got other stuff coming up, so we're going to take an early break here, and then we're going to come back. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr. You can trust him. He's not like the others.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by CapeGunworks.com. Cape Gunworks has been approved to reopen their virtual training classes, but space is limited. Go to CapeGunworks.com and sign up now. That's CapeGunworks.com. Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code HowieCarr20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling on any order over $50.
At Subaru of New England, we believe in vehicles that families can trust. And since your safety is our top priority, our retailers are keeping their service departments open. Scheduling your service is easy. Just go to SubaruofNewEngland.com. Enter your zip code to locate your Subaru retailer and contact to confirm participation in hours. It takes love and community to make a difference. And our New England Subaru retailers are committed to being a resource for our neighbors.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy now.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you miss not eating big meals?
No, I don't. I can still eat what I used to eat. I just can't eat as much. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat. Did you guys get the food in there? It's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner since Pearl's passing?
Just sitting down to it
Mr.
right
Gooner,
now.
what'd you get?
Carrying,
His
Grace
sorrows
to say
and
it's
food.
awesome.
What'd you get?
What is the most trouble you ever got into as a kid?
There's
My father was
some
giving me
pulled
grief
pork
one
mac
time.
and cheese,
Moose had leg
nachos, flatbread.
He didn't much like
crazy
that.
stuff. It's great.
John, what
Sounds
happened
good.
at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who do you consider the biggest rhino in the Republican Party?
Probably is Paul Ryan. I wish a Republican were still the speaker, but Paul Ryan was scarcely a Republican. And there was a reason he was Mitt Romney's running mate, because we had a rhino ticket in 2012.
Where did the expression, "How many more, Mr. Speaker? How many more?" come from?
That comes from the State House. There used to be a state rep who sometimes would talk about atrocities that were happening in crime. And he would get up there and he would say, "How many more, Mr. Speaker? How many more?" And I just picked it up and it became a trademark.
Where's your favorite place to go out to eat in Palm Beach?
My favorite place to go in Palm Beach is probably the Honor Bar, which used to be O-Bar, and you can get a really great hamburger there, and they have a great coffee machine that brews each cup of coffee individually.
Don't forget, we can do the song.
Okay.
This is Deb in Danielson, Connecticut.
This is Greg in Boston, Mass.
This is Elizabeth in Wakefield, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. We went to an early break because I wanted to have more time with our next guest, Robert Walker. He's the principal owner of the 110 Grill and a lot of other businesses around the area. And this is a cheap bastard deal that we're running. So we can play them, but we want to talk to him too about just the general situation with this lockdown. And again, we are the third from the bottom, the 48th most restricted state in the union in terms of lockdowns. And he's by far, Parker, the most repressive Republican governor in the allegedly Republican governor. But let's play the music first.
It's Howie Carr's cheap bastard deal.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds too good to be true.
Oh, no, it's real, and it's a steal.
You know there's plenty more when you shop at Howie's store for another Howie Carr cheap bastard deal.
Howie Carr, the cheapest bastard around.
And before we tell you about the cheap bastard deal, and it's a good one, go to howiecarrshow.com, click on story. We wanted to talk to Robert Walker, the principal owner of the 110 Grill. Robert Walker, welcome to the Howie Carr Show.
Howie, thanks a lot. I appreciate the opportunity to be on and to give you a different perspective from a lot of different industries that we represent and we own.
Thank you, and thanks for sending in a good spread, great spread to everybody. I kind of wish I was there. I wish I was there to eat the food, but nothing else. Robert,
Howie, we're glad you're not here. This is great stuff. And for people who don't know what Howie does, if you don't get to the food first, he packs up a lot of the food for Mr. Gooner. So there's
some for me and some for Mr. Gooner. We split it.
All the meat has been left in the dishes that have been brought here, and it's absolutely delicious.
Well, that's great. So, Robert Walker, tell us the kind of businesses you have, and what the effect of these lockdowns is.
Sure. Not only are we in the restaurant business with over 35 restaurants between our two brands, We own and operate 6 hotels. We're in the commercial real estate business with a varying amount of tenants in retail and R&D, warehousing, office. So we cross a whole bunch of different spectrums. We also own and operate 10 touch-free car washes in Massachusetts, electrical contracting business that's been in business for 32 years, commercial electrical contracting, property management. So I think we touch a lot of the industries that are being affected today, Howie. And I will tell you at one point, not to jump ahead too far, but to give some context to where I'm coming from. We had to lay off in one day 2,400 people across our businesses. And that wasn't a pleasant experience. And at one point, every one of our businesses that we're involved in was shut down by the government. Every single one. So we went from a company with 2,400 hardworking, dedicated staff members to about 17.
Wow. But how many have come back? Have you rehired some of them since then?
We have. We've brought back about 500 staff members, predominantly in the restaurant industry. Our other hotels are still shut down. Our Apex Entertainment Center in Marlborough, and we have 2 in New York. All 3 of those are shut down. Our car washes are open, although I got shut down today by one of the local Board of Health members who told me I couldn't have an employee-free car wash operating. That was a danger to the public.
I'll tell you what's a danger to the public, these local health officials making it. They tend to be rather rotund themselves. They should be probably sheltering in place to avoid the virus, but they're out hassling businessmen and just regular citizens out on the street. So tell us, what's your response? I mean, are you angry about what's going on?
I guess angry is one way to describe it. I'm more disappointed and sad in what's happening to this country. I'm not sure when we all decided we had to give up our rights when the government told us we had to. And again, I think everybody went into this, and I think it's been said more than once on your show that, people, when we got shut down, I guess everybody can give, at least I will, give these politicians a pass for the first couple of weeks. No one really knew what was heading our way. Decisions were made. And at the time, it seemed, although it was very upsetting and shocking, it was something that I think probably in hindsight was the right move, unfortunately. But, that was, 8 or 9 weeks ago, and we're still here talking about it.
Right.
And it first started out that we didn't want to overwhelm our healthcare system. And then when that clearly wasn't happening, then it went to, we got to flatten the curve. And that was a couple more weeks. So all us business owners sat around and said, oh, shit, okay, a couple more weeks. All right, we'll get there. And then we went from flattening the curve to, well, we need to see 14 days of declining stats.
Right.
And we got a little more upset and disappointed and hurt. And I just looked on the state website before I jumped on the phone. And interestingly enough, we're in 31 days of steady decline in every single category that was mentioned that we needed to cover. Right. And now that we're doing that, obviously now we're saying, according to the Lieutenant Governor's announcement on Friday, give us 3 more weeks and we'll let you know when you're going to open.
Right. 3 weeks more. Yeah. Like this is like for restaurants, this is graduation season, Mother's Day, May is, and then June, obviously, and Memorial Day, it's the beginning of summer. I mean, these are some of your most prime weeks in the restaurant hospitality industry, right?
There's no question about it. I mean, we have a conference center attached to one of our hotels out of Devon's. Every single event is canceled. Weddings, graduations, proms, they're all canceled. We had several out at Apex at our entertainment center out there. We had several events, proms, graduations, and so forth that all had to be canceled. We're trying to reschedule those now. We've reached out to a couple schools to host some graduations, and they're so excited about it, but yet we can't tell them when they can come in and host a graduation inside our beautiful facility, because we can't get a straight answer out of the government when they'll grant us the pleasure of being able to open up our business again.
I know they just treat it like it's a cavalier thing, that it's just it's no big deal to them because they're not affected by it. Like, for instance, today they announced they're going to furlough the workers at UMass Amherst, the staff people, but the faculty and even worse, the administrators, the people making 200, 300,000, they're not going to be affected. They're not going to get furloughed. They're on vacation. And, you've laid off 2,400 people. DeFilippo last night was talking about laying off 1,000. They have no clue, and they don't care. I don't think, Robert Walker. Listen, tell me about the 110 Grill. We're selling these gift cards to the 110 Grill for only $50 gift cards for only $25. Where can people go to redeem these? I mean, they're going to be redeemable everywhere, but some of the restaurants still aren't totally open, correct?
They're already more than halfway.
Excuse me. Some of them aren't open right now, Howie. We're open in Massachusetts for takeout right now, obviously. And that's a loser. I mean, we're not making any money. We're trying to keep people busy. We're trying to get our staff back in the swing of things on the hope and desire that we can open someday. That's the reason why we're opening. But every day we turn the key, we're losing money. But, we're hoping to keep our loyalty customers engaged in our brand and keep our best foot forward for our staff members. If you go on our website, 110grill.com or vivatrattoria.com, you'll be able to find a location near you. Up in New Hampshire, obviously, we're open. All our beautiful patios are available for outdoor dining. Keep our fingers crossed it doesn't rain.
Yeah. So with
and again, those are both our restaurants, sister restaurants. You can use the gift cards at either one, and our loyalty you can use at either one of our brands as well.
Oh, that's great. So this is good. You can buy them for right now in New Hampshire, or just buy them and set them aside, because eventually they're going to have to open them up down here too, or there's not going to be anything left in the state. So go to and we've sold over half of them. So get on board right now, just since you've been talking. So people love the 110 Grill, Robert Walker. Even as we've been talking, we've sold over half of the gift cards. So these are $50 gift cards for only $25. What would you say to Karen Polito if you could address her directly right now?
Well, it's interesting. I'd really like a couple answers. And again, I'm just going to go what they always try to tell us to do, is go by the stats, right? Go by the
data.
And I'm not going to make up my own figures. I pulled these right off the state's website.
That's what I do too. Yeah, we all do that now. Yeah.
And I look at the deaths, Howie, on page 11 of the website.
Right.
From 0 to 60, 289 deaths.
I know. I use those same stats. Thank you, Robert Walker from the 110 Grill. Get on board and get the certificates now. I'm Howie Carr. Online, and now you can do it a better way with Honey. Honey is the free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your cart. Just download Honey to your computer and shop on all your favorite websites like normal. When you check out, just click the Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey works on nearly every online store, including Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Macy's, Etsy, and more. And Honey has found over $2 billion in savings for its users. That's why it has over 100,000 five-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. It's 100% free to use and installs in seconds. Plus, it's backed by PayPal, so you know it's secure and reliable. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. So get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie.
Whether it's global warming global cooling, or climate change, one thing's for certain, the progressive moonbats can't stop talking about it.
We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
You know, I've spent a lot of time now with these young students, and they're scared. And a lot of young people are even suffering from, they're calling it extinction illness.
So that we can have people here who truly are committed to climate change, believe in climate change as though it's a religion, it's not a science.
A woman whose dreams of motherhood now taste bittersweet because of what I know about our children's future.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
That curing cancer is going to be much more difficult when there's so much climate change and pollutants in the environment, because a lot of cancer is environmentally caused.
Recognizing and acknowledging the link between animal agriculture and climate change is a very bold move, making tonight plant-based.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
I've seen a lot of Anchor cupcakes in my day. Here are some of the latest network nitwits.
Tanny says, if I'm elected president, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress. Correct me, there already are term limits, so what does he mean?
And what are we hearing in the background? Is that shelling?
No, Katie, Katie, you're actually hearing that from here in Jerusalem, and it's actually fireworks going off right behind me.
We're in our tribes, we're in our corners most of our lives. I think we just heard some gunshots. Should we listen to that for a second? Control room? Is that not gunshots? Okay.
Ivanka is not the second lady. She is actually, I don't think she deserves this position. She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean her specifically in that way, he shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting.
I mean, I'm presuming he was talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Not Montana. I'm talking about North.
Roger here.
No, never mind.
Yeah, no,
Ignore me.
that's
I was getting
the
Montana
big
and North Dakota confused because, I don't know, I just was.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaps anyway? We're sold out, Howie.
I'm a Democrat.
They went fast. How many were there?
States Senate.
Now we need to
100.
stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator.
I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate.
Just like here in California, here in Nevada.
Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean.
Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon.
We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Chris.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920, not 2020.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. I guess we can do the poll question now. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company that I trust. Give them a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will you go to a restaurant if you have to wear a mask while you're not eating?
No, I won't. I don't even think if that's the case, I don't even think I'm coming back to Massachusetts if that's the case. No.
Based on today's spread, I might make an exception for the 110 grill, but otherwise, no. 77% say they're not going to go to a restaurant if they have to wear a mask if they're not eating.
That includes Halloween too. I'm not even going to go to a restaurant on Halloween if I have to wear a mask. If I want to go to I don't think I've ever been to a costume party. I have not worn a costume. Why would I wear a costume for this? When is the gag over here? You know, when is it? When do we win the bet? As Bulger used to say, but Billy Bulger, when people would come into St. Patrick's Day wearing a stupid suit, he'd say, "How long do you have to wear that suit before you win the bet?" That's the way I feel when I see people wearing masks. Honestly, joining us now is Frank Mendoza, the owner of Monica's in the North End. He had a great monologue rant, whatever you want to call it, on Channel 25 the other day. And it went viral, as they say. I don't like that phrase, but that's what happened. And President Trump even tweeted it out. And we had his brother on briefly last night. He called in after we had a couple other guests on talking about the lockdown. And again, it just goes on and on and on. It doesn't end. It doesn't end. It was a lot easier to get into this lockdown than it is to get out of it. Some Swedish people were saying that. Joining us now today, that's why they didn't get into it in Sweden. They had studied history. They said it's a lot easier to get into a war than out of a war. But this is a fake war. Frank Mendoza, owner of Monica's, you're on with Howie Carr. Thanks for joining us. That was a great rant.
Thank you for having me.
Feel free to rant some more here today. Hey, listen, I'll start you off with this. Marty Walsh, the mayor of the city of Boston, that's where your restaurant is. He said that the governor's plan was very thoughtful. That was his word, thoughtful. What's your take on how thoughtful the governor's plan was?
Well, I think it took them 3 months to come up with that thoughtful plan, and they all seemed very excited about it. They were all smiling, tapping themselves in the back. You know, I'm not too keen. I don't think it was too thoughtful. I'm no surgeon, you know what I mean? But, you know, I'm realistic about things, and things don't add up and things don't make sense, you know?
Tell me about what doesn't add up and what doesn't make sense. Tell me.
Well, it doesn't make sense that the playgrounds are closed, but they're going to allow us in the second stage to have outside seating. I don't understand why there's no basketball courts in my neighborhood right now, but on Monday you're going to be able to get a haircut. You know, I don't understand why a doctor who's been studying medicine for longer than I've been alive told us for the first 2 months that it was unsafe to wear masks, and now they're saying that it's mandatory to wear a mask. You know, so. You know, the CDC just announced just now that, that counters, doorknobs, that they can't pass the virus. So there's been a lot of unclear things, and the way that they set it up is amazing. They tell us on the 18th that we were going to allow it to open, and they waited till the 18th to tell us that we're not going to open. You know, so after a while, you start to get nervous, and to tell you the truth. As much as I voted for both of these guys. I don't mind them personally, but with their political views and the political ways of doing things, I'm all set. And I'm all set with Charlie Baker, and I'm all set with Marty Walsh. So right now, I don't want to know. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know or do anything with them right now. I don't trust either one. And like I said, I think it's a lot of the stuff is unclear right now. And I think we're looking for more leadership and more like clear, thought out processes. And another thing too, they appointed somebody to represent us. I never met him in my entire life. He was quoted today saying that he knew who I was, Stephen DiFilippo. I never met him in my entire life. Okay, he owns one of the most expensive restaurants in the city of Boston. All right, how he represents me and the other people in the North End. It's kind of wild because I've never met him in my entire life.
Your brother was listening to the show last night when we had him on, Stephen DiFilippo from Davios, and he said that the groups that are trying to reopen are a rogue restaurant group. Are you a rogue, Frank Mendoza, for wanting to reopen your restaurant in the North End?
No, not yet. Anyway, I haven't opened it. I've been compliant. I haven't done anything that would say that I am rogue. But to tell you the truth, you know what else that he said today, which I thought was funny, that because he says he represents us. He says that a lot of these restaurants that are complaining about having to close or are going to close for this virus, he says that they were closing either way prior to this to this virus, that they weren't doing well anyway. A person that represents a restaurant group shouldn't be talking about stuff like that. And maybe he is right, okay? But he shouldn't be saying stuff about people's personal business. And another thing too, sir, the other day I said I would rather catch the coronavirus than lose my business. And that's the truth. I would, okay? 100% mean that. My heart goes out to any family or anybody that was affected by this disease, okay? I have a family member who's very close to me. I lost her 13 years ago, and every single day I think about her, okay? But you can't tell me what I can and cannot do. You can't make me stop living life in the fear of dying, okay? I can't do that. And another thing, too, I'm not going to close down my place. I'm not in fear of closing down my place. I'm not a month away from closing down my place, but I'm not going to open up with 25% of capacity and pay 100% of my bills. It's just not fair, and it's mathematically not possible.
Yeah, well, you just heard Robert Walker from the 110 Grill say he opens every day for the takeout, but he's losing his shirt on the takeout. By the way, we're sold out of the 110 Grill cheap bastard deals. We'll have more of these deals going forward, but we're sold out for the day, and we thank everybody who bought them. How about the fact, you talk about these crazy rules. How about the fact, Frank, that you could get your dog's haircut? You could go to a dog groomer, but you still can't go to a barber or a hairstylist.
I don't understand it. Now they're going to announce that you can go to the barber, but you can't get your nails done. Marty Walsh looks like he had a haircut the other day. Okay, all right. So I don't know. I'm not. No. Let's be truthful to each other.
No, I've heard a lot of people say that, Frank. It's true.
He looks like he had a haircut the other day, and God bless him, man. Because to tell you the truth, I have friends that can cut my hair too, and I grew up with these kids, and they'll cut my hair. But it's. Come on, you know what I mean? It's just back to the reality. They're going to allow me to have my seats, but my 12-year-old daughter can't go play in the playground. That's a block away from her street. We have a really tight-knit community in here. For the most part, we're on top of each other, and we see each other every single day. When this first came out, when the virus first came out, to tell you the truth, sir, I wanted to get it because I wanted to get it over with. I figured, you know what, I'll get it, and that'll be it. You know what I mean? And I'll be done. Okay. Months has gone by, and I haven't got anything. If you walk to the Boston Commons, which is right outside the steps of the State House,
right,
the amount of homeless, the drug addicts who are in that playground right now is insane. And that's on the footsteps of the State House. Hey, the amount of people that I've been seeing sleeping in doorways in this neighborhood, I've been living here since I was 3 years old. Okay. All right. I came here from Argentina when I was 3. Okay. And it was a very poor neighborhood back then. The rents weren't $2,000, $2,500 for a 1-bedroom apartment back then. It was $200 a month, $150 a month. We didn't have homeless people sleeping on our doorways.
Yeah. By the way, your friend Yano just texted in. He says he's a friend of yours. He wanted to say hi. He said he's with you 100%.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, man. Yano's a great guy, man. Those are hardworking. That's a hardworking man right there. Great family, great people, great people.
So what are you going to do, Frank? I mean, you got a shout out from the president today. What do you feel? How'd that make you feel?
That was cool, man. To tell you the truth, the last 3 years, have been really good to us. You could dislike the man or you could like him. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't mind him. You know what I mean? Sometimes he may speak he may speak a little bit different than former president, stuff like that. But you know what? I was actually really proud that he actually took the time to retweet that, because that shows that he cares about people like me and this neighborhood. He doesn't like the mayor. You know why he doesn't like the mayor? Because the mayor criticized him. Okay, plenty of times. Okay, so you know what? Maybe Donald Trump is right. Maybe the Trumps of this world are better than the Marty Walshes of this world. You know what I mean? Maybe Charlie Baker should decide what party he's from. Okay, You know, and another thing too, I don't need Charlie Baker and I don't need Marty Walsh to tell me how I'm supposed to live. Okay, all right, how to sneeze, how to make sure I wipe my hands right,
Frank,
and stuff like
Frank,
that.
don't forget if you go down
something.
to Frank, don't forget if you go down to the Cape this weekend, you got to wear a
Yeah.
mask on the beach. Don't forget that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? You know what they should say? You know what they should tell the people from Boston? Don't go to the Cape. Okay? If they're gonna make you do that, let the people in the Cape stay at the Cape, and for the people from Boston stay in Boston. You know what they did to us? They canceled the festivals. Okay? Some of these festivals are over 100 years old. Okay, 100 years old. I think St. Anthony's celebrated last year their 100th year
Right.
anniversary.
In the North End.
You know?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, let me tell you. I bet you those people for those 100 years that they've been doing that went through a lot more worse than the coronavirus.
They
And
went
I'm
through the
telling you,
Spanish flu.
I'm not a money hungry person, man. Okay, I come from a very poor family, from a country that refused my family. I mean, my father was a doctor for PTSD. Okay, he was one of the founding fathers of the Vietnam veterans shelter for homeless vet on Court Street. Okay, I don't come from a family of peasants. Okay, we're good people. We care about our neighbors. We care about the old. We care about the young. We care about the sick. We care about the rich, and we care about the poor. Okay, what I see here in City Hall is people who are listening to a few groups of people and are telling us what to do. All right, when is Marty Walsh going to walk down here? We're in his backyard. This is his backyard. The North End is
I know.
his backyard. When is he
I
going to
know.
come here?
He basically has to cross the strait to get to the North End.
I would love. Here, hold on one second. I would love for him to come down here and speak to us. You know, instead of getting a high-end restaurant, owner, who's supposed to be representing us. You can't have a plate at Derby. You can't go out for dinner at Derby's for less than $140 a person, guaranteed. Okay, all right. Why am I different? Because I sell a chicken parm. Come on, man. I started this company with my brothers from nothing. I have a menu that we used to sell hot dogs in here in 1995 for $3. Okay? I named the place after my mother. My children eat here. Do you think that I would put my children's health in risk? No way, man. There's no way. And that's another thing, too. The schools are a crazy thing. You know, my kids have been out of school. I have a 13-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 7-year-old. They've been out of school, you know, and there's rumors going around that they're not going to go back in September.
Right.
Unless you find a vaccine. You know what happens, sir, when my daughters go to school in September? They come back home with a cold, with a fever, with diarrhea, vomiting, rashes, lice. Okay?
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen in September when they go back to school? You think this thing is going to go away? You know, and it makes you start to think. It makes you start to think if what are they going to do now? It might say in the Elliott School there's 12 teachers. What are they going to say? Well, there can only be 6. And who are they going to replace them with? An iPad? That's crazy, man. That's not the way of living.
You're shut down. You're shut. Frank Mendoza. You're from Monica's in the North End. You're shut down. Do you own the building or do you rent?
No, at this location, I have my restaurant on 67 Prince Street, and I have my deli right across the street. The deli, luckily for me, I own the building, but the mortgage is still due on the 1st.
And you got to pay the property taxes. You got to pay the property taxes to Marty Walsh to tell you.
Property taxes went up.
The property taxes
That's
went
why I
up.
said-
You're shut down, and Marty Walsh is telling you, and Charlie Baker are telling you, you can't open up your restaurant to make the money to pay the property taxes and pay the mortgage.
Wrap it up.
Oh yeah, they gave us an extension for my meals taxes for the restaurant, but they do on the end of June on June 20th.
That was
All right?
mighty nice of them, huh?
Yeah. And you know what else is crazy, which I don't think people understand, because you know I've been called a few things these last 48 hours. Okay, all right. That people don't understand. Do you know that I pay a payroll tax? So every single time I give my employee a check, I get taxed on that, and I have to pay that.
I know.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And that's ridiculous. And not only that, is when my employee opens up his check, 1/3 of his check goes to the state and the city. You know what I mean?
Right.
People don't understand that. So if Marty Walsh wants me to do 25% of my business, or he wants me to only do 25% of my occupancy in this place. I should be able to pay 25% of my bills. You know?
Hey, Frank Mendoza,
Let
we
him
got to
pick
move
up-
on, but we love having you. We want to have you on again. Monica's, that's the name of the restaurant. It's on Prince Street, and we all know where Prince Street is. There used to be a place called the Doghouse on Prince Street, as you well recall, Frank. That was a long time ago, though. Frank, thank you so much for being with us, and congratulations for being retweeted by the president today.
God bless you, man, and thank you for helping us out, okay? I really appreciate it, okay? Thank you for putting us out here, okay? We're not represented in the North End. We need representation. We need people to hear our voices, please.
Thank you. Thanks, Frank Mendoza from Monica's. I'm Howie Carr.
He didn't come here to be made sport of. Howie Carr.
Hey campers, this is Howie Carr. Camping season is here and Cold Springs RV is ready for you. If a new or pre-owned camper has been on your wish list, check out the great specials online at coldspringsrv.com. The inventory that was purchased for the RV show that was canceled is now bursting at the seams. Now is the time to score a great deal. Visit coldspringsrv.com for RV specials, as well as information on hours and operations. Safety is Cold Springs RV's top priority, so please visit the website to learn more. If it is service you need, the brand new state-of-the-art facility is ready for you, servicing all makes and brands. If your RV needs body work, whether it's a collision repair, roof replacement, or a new paint job, they have you covered. From minor repairs to major insurance jobs, Cold Springs RV can do it all. Their body shop works with all insurance companies. As a full-service RV dealer, you know they can fix just about anything. Cold Springs RV, Route 114, Ware, New Hampshire. coldspringsrv.com. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300. Bernie Sanders is officially in the race for 2020. Let's look back at some of the septuagenarian's greatest hits.
Should we give tax breaks to billionaires, which is what Trump wants, or demand that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes?
Blah, 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 blah. It's funny. Sometimes American journalists talk about how bad a country is because people are lining up for food. That's a good thing. In other countries, people don't line up for food. The rich get the food and the poor starve to death.
We understand your wife has hired a lawyer to represent her in a possible probe into a land deal that fell apart. This was back when she was president of Burlington College.
No,
of course,
it's not when she was. Let me say a word on that.
Yeah. Well, I just want to ask you, do you know she's under FBI investigation?
Excuse me. My wife is about the most honest person I know.
At the end of the day, you don't necessarily need a choice of 23 underarm spray deodorants or 18 different pairs of sneakers.
People should not be dying in the United States of America when they are sick.
We will raise taxes.
This is Paul in North Andover, Mass.
This is Luana in Lexington, Massachusetts.
This is Lauren in Augusta, Maine, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
A lot of people in your profession who waxed poetically for weeks and weeks about how Florida was going to be just like New York. Wait 2 weeks, Florida's going to be next. Just like Italy, wait 2 weeks. Well, hell, we're 8 weeks away from that, and it hasn't happened.
Florida, 3 times the size and a little bit more, I think, than Massachusetts, population-wise, than Massachusetts. And it's got like 1/4 the number of deaths. And in the nursing homes, it's, I think, 1/5 the number of deaths. And there's no lockdowns here. It's free America. All the lockdown states are having more problems, and they're not coming out of it. All the states that are open are coming out of it. What does this tell you? And, I don't think a lot of these really draconian police state restrictions are going to be enforced because it's going to be up to cops. I don't think cops want to arrest anybody or write a citation for people hanging out in the park. But guys like Frank Mendoza and Robert Walker from the 110 Grill, they got liquor licenses. They need permits from the Board of Health to operate. They're not in the same situation as you and me, just saying bleep these masks and taking the dog Gooner out. In my case, Gooner out for a walk. They don't have that option. They're just stuck there. We'll be right back with Roger Stone. Should be another really good hour, I'm hoping, on the Howie Carr Show. I'm Howie Carr.
available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't
You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame, except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, I because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116.
Is he coming in right now?
15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats.
All right.
I happen to be a manifestation.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, but is morbidly obese.
Oh, I don't respond to her. I think she's a waste of time.
A few moments later.
Pelosi is a sick woman. She's got a lot of problems, a lot of mental problems.
You're asking me about the appropriateness of the actions of this president of the United States. He comes in with doggy-do on his shoes.
Oh, it's all right. I'm sure that we can handle this situation maturely, just like the responsible adults that we are. Isn't that right, Mr. Poopy Pants?
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Yesterday, I met with the general prosecutor Shulkin.
Yeah.
All right. Just in time, right in the nick of time.
The written statement of his resignation.
Great.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
I am prepared to do a public signing of the commitment for the $1 billion. Again, I'm not suggesting that that's what you want or don't want.
Listen carefully and watch me wink as I speak, okay?
I'm just suggesting that that's what we're prepared to do.
Unchained and unstoppable.
We're going to create a new bio-based multi-manufacturing job.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Yeah, it's good.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show. The toll-free number, if you'd like to join us, is 844-500-4242. I don't usually have somebody beside me here in the studio, at least not in Boca Raton. But today I am joined by Roger Stone, another victim of you've heard a lot these days about Michael Flynn, but he's not the only one, and Roger Stone is looking at jail time, prison time, in a completely concocted, ridiculous railroad frame up, whatever you want to call it. He is a victim of the special prosecutor. And he's going to be here all hour. So we've had him on before, but we never had a chance to really go at it in great detail. So this is it. We're going to have Roger Stone with us the entire hour here. 844-500-4242. We'll take some calls if you want to ask him some questions directly. Roger, thanks for being with us. And what's the current situation right now?
Well, I was convicted in the District of Columbia by I think a corrupted jury and a biased judge on 7 criminal counts. And I was sentenced to 40 months in prison, 2 years of supervised probation. I think it's 230 hours of community service and a $25,000 fine.
What exactly were you convicted
of?
That's
the amazing thing.
That's that's why we need an hour to explain it.
For almost 2 years, CNN and MSNBC and the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Daily Beast, and many others said Roger Stone will be convicted of colluding with the Russians. Roger Stone will be convicted of treason. Roger Stone will be charged with conspiracy against the United States. Roger Stone will be accused of the receipt and dissemination of stolen emails by WikiLeaks. Roger Stone will be charged with mail fraud, wire fraud, cyber crimes, including unauthorized access to a computer, aiding and abetting a felony.
Don't forget conspiracy.
Conspiracy against the United States. It was all, and of course, none of those things were
racketeering enterprise.
So in the end, prosecutors, notably the famous Andrew Weissman, perhaps the most corrupt, dirty cop of them all, pasted together an indictment that charged me with lying to Congress, specifically about the Trump campaign's interest in the WikiLeaks disclosures, which of course is not illegal. In other words, there was no underlying crime for me to lie about. And to violate the False Statements Act.
This is a recurring theme in all these prosecutions, right? No underlying crime.
Right. So, but in order to violate the False Statements Act, which is what I was charged with, you have to have both intent and it has to be material. I had no motive to lie. Donald Trump hammered the WikiLeaks issue on 142 occasions in September and October. Assange had announced in June that he had a cache of documents on Hillary that he was going to release. Everybody was interested in knowing what he had. There was never any evidence that I knew the source or content of that information prior to its release, even though liberals kept insisting I did. So it was basically a political prosecution. They didn't bring charges against me until at least a year and a half after they already knew there was no Russian collusion.
Right.
And then,
they knew that from day one, didn't they?
So their real purpose became clear in July of 2019, when one of the prosecutors, ironically, Jeannie Rhee, who represented Hillary Clinton as a lawyer in the stolen email case and the Clinton Foundation, approached one of my lawyers and said,
just a disinterested prosecutor.
It's time for your client to come clean. It's time for your client to confess. If he would remember the content of these 20
remember that was the word she used.
The content of these 29 phone calls between candidate Trump and Stone in 2016, and we have a list of them here. They're all over 30 minutes. There were others, but these are the ones we're interested in. If he would come clean that these were really about Russia and WikiLeaks, we might see our way clear to propose to the judge that he do no jail time. Now, we can't guarantee you that she would do that, but we probably could work things out. And my lawyer said, well, I'd have to consult my client, but I don't think he'll be interested. She said, go ahead, step out in the hallway, call your client. And my lawyer called me, said, here's what they proposed. And I said, well, just tell them no. There's not a chance in hell that I'm going to do that. And being a lawyer, he said, no, wait a minute. Maybe. I said, no, there's no wait a minute. I'm not going to lie against the president of the United States. I've said it for a year. I will not bear false witness against Donald Trump. I think he's one of the greatest presidents of my lifetime. And this was just before the Mueller report came out. So they knew there was no ham in their ham sandwiches. They wanted me to be the ham in their ham sandwich, and I was not interested. That's what this was really about. That is why they have destroyed me financially, ruined my reputation, muzzled me so that I could not defend myself.
Right. The last time you were here, you couldn't even talk about this case.
Correct. I was still technically under a gag order last time I was.
I've never heard of that, by the way. You were already convicted, and she had you under a gag order. How was this? Is this Obama judge? What's her name? Amy Berman Jackson.
So Judge Jackson put a gag order on me when I started pointing out that the government admitted in discovery in my case that the FBI never inspected the servers, the computer servers at the DNC. And once I began touting that, which they admitted, that's when they really tightened the gag order on me. And her justification for this was that my defense of myself might taint the DC jury. What about the Washington Post, which was urinating on me on a daily basis? Would that taint the DC jury, or CNN? Does that taint?
How about the social media of the jury foreman? Did that taint anything? Tell people about that in case they don't know.
The president referred to this morning. So I had at trial. First of all, the judge specifically prohibited several lines of defense. So arguing, for example, that Comey, Clapper, Brennan, McCabe, Strzok, Page, Rosenstein, ultimately Mueller himself, all lied to Congress.
Right.
I was not allowed to make that argument specifically. I was not allowed to question the conduct of the special counsel's office, of the FBI, of the DOJ, or of any member of Congress, Adam Schiff. I was specifically prohibited from that. I was not allowed to argue and prove, which I could have done with forensic evidence and expert testimony, that no one hacked the DNC, including the Russians.
Right.
They were not the target of a hack. That the information, the evidence demonstrates, was downloaded to some kind of portable drive, taken out the back door. But I was denied the right to make any of those arguments. At the same time, I had a jury that had no Trump supporters, had no Republicans, had no military veterans.
It was the District of Columbia.
Right. It was
what did Hillary got, like what, 91% of the vote in the district?
71 actually, because Jill Stein got the rest.
Okay. Oh, the Russian asset.
Right, exactly.
As Hillary Clinton called her, the Green Party candidate.
So it is, but after the trial, we learned that the jury forewoman who outed herself on CNN, her name is Tamika Hart. I didn't announce her name, she did.
Former congressional candidate against Cohen,
right.
the one white guy in the black congressional black caucus
and a
from
lawyer,
Memphis.
And a lawyer, so therefore knows the rules, had attacked me by name on social media starting the day I was arrested, January 25th of 2019, 2019, yes, and then subsequently, and then had also attacked Donald Trump just throughout the entire year. It is argued that the tweets and Facebook posts attacking Trump are immaterial. That's not grounds for dismissing her as a juror, but the attacks on me by name several times in 2019 definitely shows bias. She hid that bias during jury selection.
So they asked her what there. They tried to, because they could have had a summary challenge and just thrown her off. But she didn't tell them the truth.
Well,
right?
And more importantly, her social media platforms were on private settings during the trial. So the charge is your lawyer should have known. There was no way for my lawyers to know. And then immediately after the trial, she closed her Facebook account. See, her MO was to take a Facebook link and post it on Twitter. So once she closed her Facebook page, which she'd had since 2008, and then she opened a new one, the evidence had disappeared. The judge specifically denied us the right to subpoena the information from Facebook to try to recover it. And then she issued an opinion which she said that we had not demonstrated bias by the jury foreperson, and my sentence stands.
We're going to have to take a break here, but we'll be right back with Roger Stone. He'll be with us all hour. If you got any questions for him, give us a call, 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
The Howie Carr Show.
This is Lynn in sunny Las Vegas.
This is Dan from the moonbat capital of Jamaica Plain.
This is Gigi in Leominster, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Before we go back to Roger Stone, let's do the poll question of the day. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company that I trust. Give them a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will you go to a restaurant if you have to wear a mask while you're not eating?
Absolutely not.
80% say no.
Yeah. I don't have to think much about that. I don't care how good the restaurant is. All right. We're back with Roger Stone. He's the political operative, longtime political operative. He worked for Donald Trump off and on for many years in New York in the old days. And he's now a convicted felon. He was, I mean, this was a real railroad. I mean, several people have been railroaded, including Michael Flynn, including George Papadopoulos. They've tried to railroad others, but this is right up there, and he's looking at a lot of time. And you've been saying it's a death sentence.
Well, I'm 67 years old. I've had some history of respiratory problems. COVID is, rampant in our prison system. Yeah, I have legitimate concern that at my age, to go into a federal prison, I may never come out. An appeal, I have filed a notice of appeal. I think the judge made a number of errors, and there's a number of constitutional questions surrounding my conviction, including the bias of the jury forewoman. But that could take 2 years, $2 million that I have to go out and raise, because the first thing they do in this process is destroy you financially. I mean, I've lost everything. I've lost my home, my savings, most of my insurance, my ability to make a living, because I've been gagged for the last year and a half, and I make a living by writing and speaking, to try to induce you to plead. And in my case, what they wanted to induce me to do was to bear false witness against the president. Specifically, on July 24th of 2019, a member of the Mueller team approached my lawyers when we were in town for a hearing and said that if I would come clean, if I would confess.
Meaning come dirty.
Right, confess and remember the content of some 29 phone calls between candidate Trump and myself in 2016, which they had records of.
Right.
That they might see their way clear to recommend to the judge that I serve no jail time. Now, they couldn't guarantee that the judge would take that recommendation, but we could work things out, and it didn't take me long to say no.
Of course, the judge and the prosecutor were, in effect, one and the same. They were Democrat, Obama, Hillary Clinton operatives.
Well, that was particularly true when after the trial, the motion, we had to set aside the verdict and have a new trial based on the jurors' conduct. In that session, the judge essentially acted like the jurors' attorney. Tried to make the case that when she said that all of Trump's supporters were racist, how was she even to know that Roger Stone was a supporter of Donald Trump? Well, how could she not know it if she's been in politics, had run for Congress, or picked up a newspaper or watched TV over the previous year? Of course she knew. Everybody knew who it was political. So no, it was a Soviet-style show trial. It was a kangaroo court from the beginning. First, they eliminate all the powerful lines of defense. Then they gag you so that you can't defend yourself in public. They break you financially to try to make you plead. And I refuse. That's why
it's like an old movie where they go through the motions and then they lynch you.
Yeah, that is essentially true. And I think any reasonable-minded American who watched the process would understand that. But it's funny, my actual trial didn't get that much coverage. The only thing that got coverage was my conviction. Most Americans couldn't tell you what it is I was charged with. The last they heard, I was being examined for being a Russian spy, which, in view of the fact that my family members got mowed down by Russian tanks in Budapest in 1956, I have no truck for the Russians. I hate the Russians.
So Donald Trump saw one of your interviews last night, I guess, or you were with Lou Dobbs. And so he tweeted out about it today. And I'll just read you. First, he tweeted out about the quote that you basically just gave us about how you wouldn't lie to beat the rap. And you said he was one of the greatest presidents of my lifetime. I would never give false testimony. So then the second tweet is, this is Donald J. Trump this morning. Roger Stone has been treated very unfairly. How about that jury forewoman? Does anybody think that was fair? Disgraceful, all caps. Exclamation point. Stay tuned.
Well, it gives me hope. I mean,
do you want a pardon?
I've been very forthright about the fact that I have prayed fervently for a pardon. My family members are praying for a pardon. Many of my supporters who helped me finance my legal defense are praying for a pardon. But Donald Trump, who I've known for 40 years, is a man of great justice, and he's a man of great fairness. And I believe that no one tells him what to do and when to do it. I'm hopeful that he will do that. I've not formally appealed for a pardon, although that's not necessary. My lawyers have not been in touch with the White House lawyers. Am I praying for one? Absolutely, positively.
I mean, I don't think there's any way you're going to jail, but I mean, he may want to wait until, I think he obviously wants to wait until after the election. But, you know, I mean, that's going to, how much money are you going to be out appealing between now and the election?
Right now, I'm expected to report to the Bureau of Prisons at the end of May. With the caveat,
the end of May.
At the end of May.
That's only 2 weeks. That's less than 2 weeks away.
Correct. With the caveat that could be extended because of the COVID situation, but I certainly will be incarcerated at this point before the election. Of that, I think there is very little doubt.
We'll be right back with Roger Stone, and we'll talk about his arrest last January. 29 FBI agents. I'm Howie Carr. I'm here with
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. Sitting beside me is Roger Stone, a longtime political operative, friend of Donald Trump, now looking at the possibility of perhaps going to prison as quickly as about the end of the month, because he was railroaded in a D.C. courtroom by an Obama judge, and the Mueller team of angry Democrats, very, very corrupt. We're finding out more and more how corrupt they are. And Roger, a lot of people are texting, and they one of the things they really remember about you is that raid. That you talk about a show trial. You had a show raid, something straight out of Hollywood.
Yeah, it was really.
This was in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, it was really extraordinary. So, look, for a year, the media kept pounding on this idea that I would be charged any minute. And as the end of the year approached, around December, it got to be Mueller zeroing in on Stone, Mueller to tighten the noose on Stone, Mueller
walls closing in,
the whole thing. And then on January 24th in the evening, I got a call from a producer at CNN who said, could I get your address? I want to mail you something. And I said, okay. So my address is easily found online.
Right.
And I said to my wife, they're coming to arrest me tomorrow morning. She said, oh, you've been saying that for months. I said, no, honey, this time I'm absolutely sure. So I set my alarm for 5 a.m. I got up, I took a shower. I put on my Roger Stone Did Nothing Wrong t-shirt, which, by the way, you can get the Roger Stone Still Did Nothing Wrong t-shirts at fightback.store if you're interested, or your free Roger Stone t-shirt, or other paraphernalia, which has helped pay for my legal defense.
Yeah, where do people go if they want to find out more?
They can go to fightback.store for the products. If you want to help my legal defense, you can go to stonedefensefund.com. If you want to sign a petition to the president urging him to pardon me, you can go to freerogerstone.com. In any event, so I was sitting in an upstairs bathroom window where you can see the entire front yard, and sure enough, a CNN camera crew showed up and set up about 25 feet from my front door. And then
they were the first on the scene.
They're the first ones on the scene. Then 14 minutes later, 17 armored vehicles arrive. With
17.
With 29 heavily armed, totally SWAT gear clad, assault weapon bearing FBI agents. I didn't know this until I saw the security camera footage, but 2 FBI boats pull up to the dock in the back of my house because I lived on a canal at that time.
The FBI Navy?
There are frogmen with assault weapons because I guess they thought I would make a run for it, even though I can't really swim.
Sounds like D-Day. Did any paratroops drop out of the sky?
There was a helicopter overhead, and they approach the house. They bang on the door saying, FBI, open the door. They bring a big battering ram up to the front door as if I'm not going to open it. They've got these dogs on leashes, a canine unit. And it was very, it was very scary. So I, of course, opened the door and they said, are you Roger Stone? I said, yes. They said, please step outside and put your hands behind your back. We have a warrant for your arrest and a warrant to search these premises. And of course, CNN caught the whole thing on film. Now, Howie, the leak of the execution of a search warrant is a felony, very specifically a felony. And CNN insists that they were just there on a hunch. It was just a good journalistic guess. And if so, that would be the shortest stakeout in American journalistic criminal history. To this day, the FBI under Christopher Wray refuses to hand over email traffic between CNN and the FBI in the days and weeks before my raid. Judicial Watch has now had to sue for that information because the FBI, which has a legal obligation to turn it over, refuses to do so. So at that point, I was wearing a t-shirt and shorts, no shoes. They marched me out in the middle of the street. I'm handcuffed behind my back. They asked me who else is in the house. I say, my wife. They say, where is she? I said, in the upstairs bedroom. She's still asleep. My wife is essentially deaf without her hearing aids, completely deaf. She wakes up looking down the barrel of a gun, just as I opened the door, looking down the barrel of 2 guns. She didn't know whether it was a home invasion. I mean, she was completely disoriented. They march her out in the middle of the street in her night clothing and bare feet to stand 10 feet away from me. She's not allowed to touch her cell phone, which is ringing wildly because CNN's already got it on TV.
They're on live? They're broadcasting it live?
They must have been live. Now, I was arrested at 6 a.m. At 7 a.m., the Office of the Special Counsel blasts a copy of my indictment to all the media, plus they post it on their website. The problem with that, there's two problems with that. One, Andrew Weissman has left his initials in the meta tag for the indictment, so we know he wrote it. And secondarily, the judge in Washington, actually a magistrate, didn't unseal it until 9:30. So their release of it was illegal, but the judge in my case didn't care about that. The FBI acted very professionally. I will say that. They were courteous once I was in custody. It's interesting, the difference between the agents from D.C. that were running this thing and the agents from Miami who would look at me and roll their eyes. You know, they knew that this was not necessary.
The guys who weren't it from D.C., the real cops, in other words.
I mean,
that's
Howie,
that's my experience.
The FBI's argument, the special counsel's argument that I had to be arrested in this manner was that I was a flight risk. But 3 hours later, when they arraigned me, they don't require any cash bond, which means they let me out on my signature, which means they knew I wasn't a flight risk. I don't have a valid passport. It had expired. I don't own a gun just because I'm a strong supporter of the Second Amendment, but I don't have a gun because I have grandchildren. I don't want a gun in the house for that reason. I am completely recognizable. I live on a canal, but as I point out, I can't swim. Where would I run to? And it's been widely publicized that I'm under investigation for 16 months. Everybody knows. They said, well, if we hadn't arrested Stone in this manner, he might have destroyed evidence.
And
really,
you lost your house because
I
of
lost
this.
it. I lost
I mean, you
everything.
had to sell your house to raise money.
I've lost my home. I've lost my car. I've lost my savings. I lost my ability to make a living. No, I lost my ability, my right to free speech for 16 months. No, this is part of the process. They do that to pressure you into cooperating, and I refuse to cooperate by stating falsehoods about the president and dissembling about our conversations that were all about politics, had nothing to do with Russia or WikiLeaks.
Why didn't you ask for a change of venue? I'm just looking at some text messages. We'll take some calls here in a moment.
You could not get a change of venue, and this judge who heard my case was not randomly selected. What they claimed was that my case was related to the case of the Russians who are charged with hacking the DNC, a case that has never come to trial,
right?
A case where they've never even had discovery,
where they're never going to have,
But they claimed that my email address was found in the address book of one of the Russian. It was an absurdity, but we challenged that and we were turned down. So there was no change of venue allowed, and the judge was not randomly selected. Mm-hmm. I got the same judge that heard the Paul Manafort case, the same judge who dismissed the wrongful death suit by the Benghazi families against Secretary of State Hillary Clinton.
Now, you told me something off air that I'd never heard before. You had during the trial, you know, the gallery's open, anybody can walk in. So you had an interesting visitor.
Yeah,
to the trial.
I noticed on 2 different days of my trial that Judge Emmett Sullivan, who was the judge who sat in General Flynn's case.
Small world, huh?
And by the way, I think General Flynn is a great American hero and could be the only guy on the face of the planet who got screwed worse than I did by the Mueller dirty cops.
It's neck and neck.
But I noticed that Judge Sullivan, not wearing his robes, obviously, would come and sit in the back of the courtroom and watch his colleague, Amy Berman Jackson. So I gather they're very close. It's interesting that Judge Sullivan has quoted Judge Jackson, but this new move to appoint a special counsel who is himself one of the dirtiest cops in New York history, a guy named John Gleason. Let's look at his prosecutorial background.
Worked in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Brooklyn with none other than Andrew Weissman
right.
when the FBI agent allegedly was and hits by the mob in a Colombo family crime war.
They basically lied about an FBI informant, and therefore the convictions of all the heads of the hierarchy of the Colombo mob were overturned because of their lies. But we'll get sidetracked there. The point, of course, is that these two, this action they've taken against General Flynn is outrageous. And now they want to determine whether by folding to the relentless pressure they put on him to plead something he didn't do, he should now be charged with perjury. Mr. President, it is time to end this persecution of a great American hero. It is outrageous what they've done to General Flynn. And I know how he feels. I know how his family feels. I would like to see justice for him.
Are you satisfied with your lawyers, or have you talked? Someone wanted to know if you've talked to Sidney Powell, because she's really done a bang-up job
She's
for
done
Michael
an amazing
Flynn.
job, but I have new attorneys. I'm represented by David Schoen of Atlanta and represented by Seth Ginsburg of New York. I'm very pleased with them. I was not happy with my representation at trial, although to a certain extent their hands were incredibly tied.
Right.
But my new team, I have Paul Kamenar has joined that team today. So, and of course, my longtime personal lawyer, Grant Smith. I'm very pleased with their approach. They are much more aggressive. I asked Sidney Powell for recommendations. David Schoen was among those lawyers that she recommended. I think she's done a phenomenal job for General Flynn. And I thank God that she has, because his own lawyers ratted him out. I mean, he paid them $6 million and they essentially brought him to the gallows. It was outrageous.
Do you ever think of yourself, someone on Rush was saying this today, that he was mentioning Flynn, that the Flynn case was a lot like the Dreyfus case in France, where they basically framed the guy, even though they knew he was innocent. And they sent him to Devil's Island. I mean, and you're kind of a Dreyfus case, aren't you?
It's complete fabrication. And again, I went to the House Intelligence Committee voluntarily. I was there for 6 hours. The last 2 of them, I could have left after 4, but I insisted on staying to answer questions. Any misstatement I made was immaterial. It didn't hide any other crime. Oh, you were hiding the Trump campaign's interest in WikiLeaks? Everybody was interested in WikiLeaks.
Right.
Trump had said this repeatedly on the stump. And the witness tampering charge, the guy who I'm accused of having threatened, said on the stand that he never felt threatened, wrote a letter to the judge saying he never felt threatened. And in fact, he himself had threatened other witnesses to the grand jury.
Roger,
it's unbelievable.
I saw that email. You've threatened to kill his dog.
No, I threatened to take his dog. But if you saw the email before that, I said, are you feeding that dog? I'm going to report you to the Humane Society because I don't think you're feeding that dog. But they didn't show you that email. They only show the one where I said, I'm going to take your dog. So the context, he said specifically, I never thought Stone was seriously going to take my dog. That was an Andrew Weissman special to make it sound more corrupt. But what was the point of arresting me on national television when I have no prior criminal record? I'm not a threat to anyone. I'm charged with white collar process crimes and dog stealing, or the threat to steal a dog. But
that's a conspiracy.
But we, they had to send more men than they used to take down bin Laden. It cost the taxpayers $1.1 million.
How did you find that out?
Somebody in the FBI office in Miami told us that number. I think it's about right.
$1.1 million.
And let's remember that my lawyers had spoken to the special counsel's office the day before, because we turned over 30 pages of text messages between Randy Credico and I, which I believe prove indisputably that he was my source regarding the fact that whatever WikiLeaks had was incendiary and would come out in October, both of which he turned out to be right of. There was never any evidence or proof that I knew the source or the content of the WikiLeaks disclosures until they were published.
We're going to take a break, and we'll take a couple of calls for Roger Stone when we come back, and we'll give you the address again if you want to contribute or buy some product saying Roger Stone is still not guilty. Is that what?
Roger Stone still did nothing wrong.
Did nothing wrong. I'm Howie Carr. about 5 minutes.
God, it really does go fast.
This is Jay in Hingham, Massachusetts.
This is Gloria from Haverhill, Mass.
Hi, this is Joe from Howie in the Hills, Florida, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. We're here with Roger Stone, a former political operative. He'd like to be a political operative again. He's looking at prison time. He's been convicted, railroaded. I think there's no question about it. And he's asking for a pardon or a commutation from the president before he has to report to the Bureau of Prisons at the end of the month. And we're going to take a couple of calls. We're going to tweet out the web addresses where you can contribute or just read more about the case or buy his product. But why don't you give them one more time over the and
Sure.
our tweet if you want to follow us at
Sure.
Howie Carr Show. But go ahead, where
So
can they
if
go?
you want to help finance my appeal and my efforts to stay out of prison in the short term, you can go to stonedefensefund.com. If you want to help me and my family, you can go to stonefamilyfund.com. If you want to sign a petition to the president, you can go to freerogerstone.com. And if you want to buy your very own Roger Stone Still Did Nothing Wrong t-shirt, a replica of the t-shirt I was arrested in, you can go to fightback.store. And all
A great
those things will
Father's
help.
Day gift.
The best.
All right. Okay. And again, we'll tweet out all those addresses at HowieCarrShow.com. Bill, you're next with Howie Carr and Roger Stone. Go ahead, Bill.
Mr. Stone, first of all, I'd like you to know that myself, my family, and a lot of us here in Florida are praying for you to be released, for this to go away. I know exactly how you are feeling. Some years ago, I served 5 years in a federal prison because I wouldn't testify against some people. I was never indicted. My wife got an appeal lawyer. I was never indicted. They wouldn't even allow me to the appeal. The judge turned me down for an appeal because he said my testimony was not worthy of an appeal, and I was never even allowed to testify.
Yeah. So this happens a lot more than a lot of law-abiding citizens think it does. I always use the quote from Lenny Bruce: "In the halls of justice, the only justice is in the halls."
Yeah, look, I appreciate your thoughts and I appreciate your situation. I've been very forthright about this. That this past January, I had an opportunity to meet with Reverend Franklin Graham. Now, I was raised as a Roman Catholic. I had all my sacraments in that church. I wasn't ever a particularly religious guy. I admit that I'd fallen away from the church and had some wild times when I was younger. But Reverend Graham gave me really good advice. And I told him, look, Reverend Graham, I'm in a point of turmoil. I'm scared. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. I'm worried. And he said, son, turn yourself over to Christ. Reaffirm your commitment to Jesus Christ. I know this isn't a religious program, and I'm not trying to proselytize, but I must tell you, as soon as I did that, we learned about the corrupt juror. The instant, like within days, their case began to fall apart. So, everything is in his hands. The president is a believer, and I believe at the end of the day that justice will be done. And I urge anybody who's going through any kind of a difficult time, this isn't a joke. Take it seriously. Reaffirm your commitment to God. Confess your sins. Walk in His way. Your life will change. Mine has.
I don't think you're going to prison. I'm pretty sure you. But again, you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to go through any more of this.
Well, I just want to get back to writing books. I've written 5 books. 2 of them are, one of them's a New York Times bestseller. 3 of them are Amazon bestsellers. I would like to get back to that. I'd like to get back to my syndicated radio show, which was just starting to take off when I was arrested, because I've got a face for radio. But this is really, it consumes your entire life, raising the money for your legal defense, trying to keep food on the table. I mean, if it were not for the Stone Family Fund and people helping me put gasoline in the tank and groceries on the table, I wouldn't have survived.
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Glad to be here.
I'm Howie Carr.
alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. I said, what are we? Are we allowed to grow too? Okay. No, are we allowed to grow?
I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder. Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in.
I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year because I've destroyed her political career and now I won't get a chance to run against her, and I would have loved it. I don't want to knock out all of the good stuff and end up with somebody that's actually got talent. That would be terrible.
He's the gaffe that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts, I get in trouble some of the things I say. But I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Cory Booker said it best.
There are definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.
Here's stumbling and mumbling Joe Biden.
David Duke, the former leader of the KKK.
The Ku Klux Klan is the Ku Klux Klan. 8 more years of Donald Trump will change America in a fundamental way.
If Donald Trump is reelected, Freudian slip, and the demagogues around the world.
We also have a mechanism to control drug prices. Folks at the folks at Health and the Health Department in the United States, HHS.
They would put 720 million women back in the workforce.
I never ever thought that I'd see what I saw in Charlotte.
Would you or would you not rejoin the TPP, yes or no?
I would not rejoin the TTP.
Well, they're going out and getting G5 and going to dominate. I mean, what are we doing?
Bills that the future president here, that the senator's talking about.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases, people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
Remember the boy who cried wolf? I call this one the press that cried Hitler.
The president is not only racist, he's a bigot, but he is completely un-American. He is behaving like a fascist.
This is the president, once again, just thumping his chest and acting like he is the dictator that I think he wants to be.
President of the United States is a wannabe dictator with authoritarian tendencies.
This is exactly what authoritarians do. This is what strongmen do. This is what happens in authoritarian regimes.
We have a president with a strong authoritarian personality.
Like a dictator from another nation.
People that grew up in authoritarian regimes, seeing echoes of that in President Trump. He likes these figures like Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un. This is more the actions of a dictator. He
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, had what is morbidly obese.
Oh, I don't respond to her. I think she's a waste of time.
A few moments later.
Pelosi is a sick woman. She's got a lot of problems, a lot of mental problems.
You're asking me about the appropriateness of the actions of this president of the United States. He comes in with doggy-do on his shoes.
Oh, it's all right. I'm sure that we can handle the situation maturely, just like the responsible adults that we are. Isn't that right, Mr. Poopy Pants?
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Yesterday, I met with the general prosecutor Shockley.
Yeah.
And despite of the fact that we didn't have any corruption charges, he bring me the written statement of his resignation.
Great.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
I am prepared to do a public signing of the commitment for the $1 billion. Again, I'm not suggesting that that's what you want or don't want.
Listen carefully and watch me wink as I speak, okay?
I'm just suggesting that that's what we're prepared to do.
Unchained and unstoppable.
We're going to create a new bio-based multi-manufacturing job.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Oh man, Joe Biden. We'll get to all the cuts, all the Joe Biden cuts again. Someone says, "Where's Grace today? Fixing up the new house." We want to get Roger Stone in on the Newsmax hour, so Grace will be doing Grace's news at the bottom of this hour, at the bottom of the 5 o'clock hour. 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. And the thing about Roger Stone is, and what you got to always remember, and I don't mean to sound like a civics teacher in your old high school class, but if they can do that to Roger Stone, they can do it to anybody, And if they do it to they did it to George Papadopoulos. He didn't do anything wrong. They set him up. He actually did a couple of weeks in the can, and that was a terrible miscarriage of justice. They tried to frame Carter Page. They tried to frame the president of the United States. I mean, if they can do it to those people, they can do it to you. That's why everybody's got to be excited about this. And that's why it's so disturbing that the Democrat Party, which was once very interested, not that long ago, in civil liberties, and the American Civil Liberties Union doesn't care about these cases anymore. It's like anything to get Donald Trump. It's not a good a portent or omen for the future that these people don't care about anybody's civil rights. And because, eventually the power of the state is going to be used on them. That's the lesson of history. You think you're cool. Everything's cool because you control the levers of power. No, not forever. Not forever. You don't. 844-500-4242. Time now for the chump line.
Hey, Marty, a couple 100 years ago, they threw tea in the harbor for a hell of a lot less.
Where are the Sons of Liberty when you need them? And I'm so glad Frank Mendoza brought up the haircut. I've heard so many people have talked to me about the haircut. People that are getting really shaggy. They're thinking about going out and buying a guitar. Their hair is getting so long. And Marty is, saying no barbershops, no nail salons. And he's perfectly coiffed when he goes out for the daily show and tells.
Thanks to Charlie Parker, Massachusetts motto is live free or live here. That's
definitely it. Again, according to a survey that just came out today. Massachusetts is the 48th most free state in the union, behind only Rhode Island and Illinois are more oppressive than Massachusetts. What an accomplishment for a Republican governor. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week celebrating our system of justice and the rule of law. When laws are circumvented and citizens' rights are abridged, it's the duty of every American to hold those lawbreakers responsible for their actions, no matter what the consequences.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm moving to Russia where I can be free.
You don't have to move to Russia. Russia has moved here, not Russia, the Soviet Union. You thought the Soviet Union was dead? It's operating. We now have commissars on Beacon Hill.
Governor Putin, enjoy your last few days in office. You louse.
Yeah, he's not. He's talking about the new normal. We don't need the new normal, okay? We need the old normal. We're going to go back to the old normal, and he's not going to be the governor anymore. And pay-to-play Polito is not going to be the lieutenant governor. But, people have told me, they say, I know you're angry at Baker because of, these high-handed tactics, acting like a petty tyrant. But, he's still better than Marcia Coakley. I'm not so sure about that. What would the difference be if Marcia Coakley was the governor? It couldn't be any, it could, as far as, impinging on people's rights and liberties, it couldn't be any worse. It just couldn't be. Tell me how it could.
Here, Mayor, I hear Mayor de Blasio promised to immediately pull anyone out of the water. Yeah, then take it from me. That's easier said than done. Yeah.
Now, that's got to be some of the craziest sound of the week. Mayor de Blasio is threatening to. He was threatening to pull people out of the water on the New York City beaches. What is he smoking? I know what he's smoking. That's one reason why the cops really don't like being on his detail. It's kind of embarrassing when he goes to these events an hour and a half, 2 hours late, and he smells like, well, you know what he smells like.
When Joe Biden calls the Chump Line. Hey, Colonel, Joe Biden calling. Did you hear the one about the, the thing?
Yeah. Cut 4. Play cut 4.
The idea that you can go through the 20th century with just 12 years of education of the 21st century.
20th century, 21st century. Cut 6.
Thousands of meatpacker workers got sick, got the virus, and some died.
Got the virus. Last few weeks.
Susan Rice said we did everything by the book. Which book was that? Das Kapital or Rules for Radicals?
I guess she just announced this morning or sent out something through her lawyer or her press person that she was told by the White House counsel to write that document, the by the book document. I guess, I guess they had to remind one another to do things by the book because sometimes they didn't do things by the book. That's the only possible reason you would have to memorialize that, as they like to say.
I can't make up my mind. Which image is more ridiculous? Mike Dukakis in his army helmet or Anthony Fauci in his corona mask?
I think that Charlie Baker is a worse governor than Mike Dukakis. I never thought I would say those words, that anyone could be a worse governor than Mike Dukakis, but I think Charlie Baker has not only outdone him, he's lapped him. This is the worst administration probably in the history of the state of Massachusetts. It's totally self-inflicted damage. And it's unconstitutional what he's been doing. least a violation of the First and Second Amendments. Maybe he has the right to shut down these restaurants. I don't think so myself, but he definitely didn't have a right to shut down the gun shops or the churches. And he's already been slapped down for it.
Howie, fighting the war from 1,500 miles away. You're like de Gaulle in the French Resistance.
What do I have to come back to? I'm comparing myself not to de Gaulle, but to MacArthur. I shall return. But not for a while.
So Anya Presley's concerned that reopening the economy is going to kill a bunch of people. What's she worried about? She's going to get their votes anyway.
I know. I was trying to explain that to Roger Stone during a break. He was talking about AOC and the hatred in her eyes. And I said, actually, compared to Ayanna and also compared to Ilhan Omar, I think AOC almost seems reasonable.
Howard, real loud calling. Say what you will about me, but if I was still governor, the bars wouldn't be closed.
I hadn't thought about it that way, but yeah, you're right. You know what else? The marijuana shop to wait until next week to open up. They would have been open up from day one as well.
I was wondering if hydroxychloroquine is good for black toe. Do you know anything about that, Howie?
I didn't come here to be made sport of, okay? I got my black toe under control. And if it isn't, I'll just, if it gets back out of control, I'll just soak my left foot in some hydroxychloroquine or some bleach or both. Maybe it's a good mixture of it. I could just mix it up, kind of like Joe Biden did. We'll play that cut a little later.
That was your last Chump Line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
All right, that's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night, including weekends. The Chump Line number, if you'd like to leave such a message, 844-500-4242. 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday. And again, check out Chop Chumps, the messages that didn't make the broadcast version of the Chump Line. It goes up at 7:00 every night. Chop Chumps, wherever you get your Howie Carr podcasts. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week celebrating our system of justice and the rule of law. When laws are circumvented and citizens' rights are abridged, it's the duty of every American to hold those lawbreakers responsible for their actions, no matter what the consequences.
Howie, fighting the war from 1,500 miles away. You're like de Gaulle in the French Resistance.
Well, hey, de Gaulle got to take over the country afterwards. Maybe I don't want to take over Massachusetts. There's not going to be anything left by the time Tal Duval and Pay to Play get ejected from office. When they leave and walk down the State House steps in 2023, though, I will be there. They'll be able to recognize me on the State House steps. I'll be the one wearing a mask. Come to think of it, there'll probably be about 10,000 people wearing masks that Monday in January. I'm Howie Carr.
If you change the station, the Moonbats win. You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Cape Gunworks has been approved to reopen their virtual online classes. If you're looking to get your certification in firearms safety training, these classes are the perfect resource. They're also great for experienced gun owners who need to get recertified in safety. These virtual classes will fill up quickly, so sign up today. To learn more about the online classes, go to capegunworks.com. That's capegunworks.com. And keep Cape Gunworks in mind for all of your future gun and ammo needs. Cape Gunworks in Hyannis. Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code Howie Carr 20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling on any order over $50.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying. Hitler was a Christian. Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman.
Did you have tanning lotion on,
A little, I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not
sure
sure.
it was something. It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Oh, no.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
The coronavirus has made our lives unpredictable, but one thing you can always count on, the White House press corps will always ask President Trump ridiculous questions.
Question, Mr. President, should Americans have to decide between staying healthy and going back to work?
Hey, just checking on oil again today. I was wondering.
Oil?
Yeah.
Where is it today?
Well, I was wondering if you.
No, where's the price? Give me the price.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
How can you ask a question when you don't know the price?
I'll look it up for you.
Okay, let me do something else.
When you say the Americans were scared, though, I guess nearly 200 dead, 14,000 who are sick, millions, as you witnessed, who are scared right now. What do you say to Americans who are watching you right now who are scared?
Well, where did he come from, the Inspector General? What's his name?
It came from the Inspector General
what's his name?
report. I don't know his name.
Some of your allies have been bashing these doctors. Would you tell them to cut it out?
Today you tweeted the invisible enemy will soon be in full retreat. Given it's invisible, without widespread testing,
Still have that deputy dog cut. Too.
Oh, that's right. We do. That's good. Yeah.
Hi, my name's Jane Lucas, and I'm from the town of South China, Maine.
This is Al from Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Hey, I'm Angela from Brewster on the Cape, and this is the one and the only Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company that I trust. Give them a call today to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling now. You need to be diversified now more than ever. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. Taylor, what's the poll question and what are the results thus far?
Will you go to a restaurant if you have to wear a mask while you're not eating?
No, I will not.
19% say they'd still go.
Just not my cup of tea. Never even thought about it. But I guess That's the new normal. The new normal. No fun for anybody unless you're an elected official or you wear a white lab coat. The other day, I was listening to Clapper, stumbling and bumbling and fiddling and diddling. Clapper, the former DNI under Obama, not exactly the sharpest knife in the drawer. And I thought to myself, I've heard that voice before. He sounds like a cartoon character from my youth, namely Deputy Dog. So here, is it Deputy Dog, or is it Clapper, or is it Memorex? Cut 13.
Here it comes, the Deputy Dog Show, starring that lovable lawman with a badge of tin and a heart of gold, good old Deputy Dog.
Given my age demographic, I'd be happy to come after I've been vaccinated for COVID-19.
I hope so. It's a good thing those cotton picking Yankees can't shoot straight.
So get ready now for some real fun and excitement as Muskie and Vincent Langofa keep old Deputy busy with some fast-moving, laugh-provoking adventures.
I don't particularly want to put my life or that of my wife in jeopardy for in-person testimony.
Only instead of Muskie and Muskrat, he hangs out with Clapper. He hangs out with Brennan and Comey, who were neither of whom is quite as bright as Deputy Dog's foe, his nemesis, Muskrat. 844-500-4242. You got to hear this Pelosi cut again, and she really is getting soft. I mean, there's no question about it. It's becoming more and more obvious. She's going full Biden on us. Cut 12.
You're asking me about the appropriateness of the actions of this president of the United States? So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child that comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy do on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too, for a very long time to come.
Think about that. Doggy do on his shoes. How Joe Biden of a thing to say about somebody else. 844-500-4242. When we come back, we will have Grace's News. I'm Howie Carr. Good job with Deputy Dog.
Thanks.
Who has always wanted more hair but are afraid of a full hair restoration, then today is your lucky day. DiStefano Hair Restoration is now offering a non-surgical laser cap solution for less than $3,000. This package comes with a year's supply of 2 medications to support the growth of your hair. DiStefano Hair Restoration continues to discount full hair transplants too. To learn more about both packages, go to hairman.com/Howie. You may have more time on your hands now, so take advantage of it and get the hair you've been wanting for years. I know Dr. Highness did such a great job for me, and he will do it for you too. People always stop me and say it looks so natural. To take advantage of either of these offers, go to hairman.com/Howie. You'll never see these kinds of discounts again. That's hairman.com/Howie. DiStefano Hair Restoration has 5 locations in New England and is open for business. For more information on location openings, go to hairman.com/Howie. Get the hair you have always wanted today.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them, now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's why I'm saying I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And, my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create now. One is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
You might hear a lot about Bernie, Biden, and Elizabeth Warren, but what about the lightweights who are running for president? Here's a best of the B team.
I've listened to some of my colleagues, Mr. Glover, tell you how much they like your movies. And we didn't come here to talk about your movies. We came here to talk about your activism. I like your activism. I also like your movies, but I want to give you a chance because I haven't heard the other side other than tell you that they like they like your movies.
I think the NRA is the worst organization in this country for doing exactly that. They care more about the profits than the American people.
I learned a long time ago about polling. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. I mean, right now, I got nowhere to go but up.
Millions living in the shadows, working some of the toughest jobs, kept in modern day bondage.
People commit crime. Crime happens.
I have won every single congressional district in my state, including Michelle Bachmann's, okay? That's when you guys are supposed to cheer.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. One of the texters says, in Nancy Pelosi's congressional district, when you walk in the door, you don't have doggy do on your shoes. You have another kind of do. We won't get into that. It's too close to dinner time. All right. We put off Grace's news for an hour so we could have Roger Stone with us. Very interesting hour, I thought.
I would say it was worth putting it off. I don't like to take a backseat to anyone, but I'll take one to Roger Stone today.
Yeah, very, very interesting material, and especially the fact that Emmett Sullivan was sitting in the back of the courtroom a couple of days of his kangaroo court trial in the Star Chamber that is the federal courthouse down there in D.C., apparently. So, but right now, it is time for Grace's news.
Woohoo! Okay, Howie, I want to start with some really good sound because that is a pro to doing my news later in the show, is that I got some stuff that maybe you missed earlier. Kayleigh McEnany is back at it again.
Grace, why don't you tell us, first of all, though, Grace, why don't you tell us we have an update on the cheap bastard deal?
Yes, we do have an update, guys. There was a small computer glitch, and now we have more gift cards available. These gift cards are for... They're valued at $50, but we're selling them for $25, and they're used at all 110 grills. They have so many locations. Go to howiecarr.com, click on the store to get your cheap bastard deal, and you'll be able to get one. These are probably going to run out because our first batch ran out very fast, but we do have, I think, about 100 more uploaded to the site for people who want to go there. And I had some of the food today, Howie. It is truly delicious. Barbecue chicken nachos. And you know what made it taste even better, I have to admit?
I wasn't there.
Knowing that you won't be able to microwave these tomorrow, that you just completely
And
missed
Friday.
out.
And Saturday. And
It really
Sunday.
added so much to the experience. But One Ton Grill is awesome. Robert Walker, we had him on in the first hour. He's awesome. So make sure you support them, buy a gift card, and you might be able to dine al fresco because they have some patios open. So check out those locations
Up in New
as well.
Hampshire. They have a lot of restaurants in New Hampshire, and you can the New Hampshire is somewhat ready to roll, as is Connecticut.
And it's supposed to be beautiful this week too. Friday is supposed to be like 80 degrees. So I think those patios will be rocking.
Okay, so go to howiecarrshow.com, click on store.
All right, so now I want to get to Kayleigh McEnany. She had a press conference today, and they asked her, once again, she was prepared, as the press would say disgustingly. She was prepared.
She brought the receipts.
She brought the receipts. She's got her pamphlets laid out, or her folder laid out, and she just goes through the
Did
list.
she have
it's
the
like
data?
She brings,
the data, as they say at the daily press conferences in Gardner
Howie,
Auditorium?
it's like she brings one of your columns up and she just goes through it bullet point by bullet point, and it's a beautiful thing. So they asked her about Trump taking hydroxychloroquine, and she brought up the fact that one of his critics, Chris Cuomo, otherwise known as Fredo, the guy who got coronavirus, then traveled to the Hamptons from New York, then got in a fight with the man outside, then pretended to reemerge from his basement as if he hadn't already left his basement, is now, whose wife said she bathes in Clorox bleach. And then he made fun of Trump for saying everyone should inject Clorox. And did I mention he also critiqued beachgoers for being fools for leaving their houses, even though we know he got in the fight with a fat tire biker. I'm just trying to keep up with Kayleigh here because if she bows out, I'm next. He critiqued President Trump for taking hydroxychloroquine, and you got to hear Kayleigh's response. It was awesome. Cut 15.
Well, Cuomo mocked the president for this. And interestingly, I found this out just before coming here. Hydroxychloroquine, of course, is an FDA-approved medication with a long proven track record for safety. And it turns out that Chris Cuomo took a less safe version of it called quinine, which the FDA removed from the market in 2006 because of its serious side effects, including death. So really interesting to have that criticism of the president. And on that note to Chris Cuomo, I'd like to redirect him to his brother, the governor of New York, Governor Cuomo, who has several on-the-record statements about hydroxychloroquine, saying, I'm an optimist, I'm hopeful about the drug, and that's why we'll try it here in New York as soon as we get it. There has been anecdotal evidence that it's promising. That's why we're going ahead. And I have about 8 other quotes from Governor Cuomo, should any of you have interest in that.
They won't have interest in it, Kayleigh. I can assure you.
No.
It's just unbelievable, the hypocrisy. And Chris Cuomo, everyone keeps tweeting his videos out and saying, shouldn't he sit this one out? And by the way, we get that information about his medication and about all these things from his wife's blog. So I just want to say to all the married couples out there, if one of you is going to start a blog and the other one's a public figure, maybe we run it by. We have a little proofing session of things that you want to have out there and that you don't want to have out there, including that you're bathing in Clorox and that your husband is taking a version of hydroxychloroquine, or however you say it.
Has Fredo commented on the decision by the mayor of New York to arrest people trying to swim in the Atlantic Ocean?
He has not commented on that, but I'm sure he is due for a rant tonight where he is, casting his judgment on everyone. So we wait with bated breath. Howie, but it wasn't just Kayleigh who had a boom roasted moment today. Mike Pompeo was also on a roll. I don't know if you saw this. So there's an interesting thing happening where he told Trump that he should fire IG Steve Linick. And now people are saying that Steve Linick was investigating Pompeo. And there's 2 things they're saying, okay? This is from the New York Post. I'm quoting. He was investigating Pompeo for tasking staff with personal errands, such as walking his dog and picking up dry cleaning. Howie, you talked about that yesterday.
Sherman the dog.
And also for potentially subverting Congress by authorizing arms sales to Saudi Arabia. The latter of those seems like it would be more important. If any
count
of it is
one
true.
and count 2.
Selling
Selling arms to Saudi Arabia under the table. count two, having somebody walk Sherman.
Sherman. Yeah, Sherman for me isn't, a national security issue, so that one doesn't bother me as much.
A beautiful dog. A talented dog.
But Mike Pompeo is great, and he's kind of underrated because he's not showy or anything like that, but he does not back down from a fight. And he had a great point that the people who are stoking this controversy are mostly coming out of the office of Senator Menendez. And if you don't remember Senator Menendez, I'm going to let Howie give a brief synopsis of what he's most famous for. Howard?
He was friendly with an ophthalmologist down here who was taking tens of millions of dollars from Medicaid and Medicare that he was not entitled to. And he was having Menendez run his errands in Boston, in D.C., for instance, bringing in his girlfriends and claiming that they needed H-1B visas. And in return, the ophthalmologist from Palm Beach was picking up the tab for his trips to Paris and his hotel rooms. And according to the Daily Caller, he was also picking up the tabs for his trips to the Dominican Republic, where they were staying in a resort that was known for its underage women of the evening, shall we say?
Well, as long as the ophthalmologist wasn't picking up Menendez's dry cleaning, I think he will be okay. But
Menendez actually paid back thousands of dollars for some of those trips to the Dominican Republic and to Paris.
These sound like bribes, Howard.
The gratuities, as we prefer to call it, when we're in court.
Well, I want you to hear Mike Pompeo's awesome response. This is cut 14.
This is all coming through the office of Senator Menendez. I don't get my ethics guidance from a man who was criminally prosecuted, case number 15-155, New Jersey Federal District Court. A man for whom his Senate colleagues, bipartisan, said basically that he was taking bribes. That's not someone who I look to for ethics guidance. And so I'll continue to do the right thing to make sure the State Department is served by every employee, including our Inspector General. And we'll make sure the State Department continues to deliver on behalf of the American people.
I don't know why he's saying that about Bob Menendez, because when I'm looking for a moral compass in any situation, I call it Menendez. And if I can't get him, I ask for his ophthalmologist.
Well, Brett, when Brett Kavanaugh was being confirmed, there was a real problem because Menendez was on trial in Newark on those bribery charges. And, he wanted to come down and cast his vote against Brett Kavanaugh because Brett Kavanaugh was such a moral leper. That,
he wanted to see if the witch was going to drown, but he was too busy being burned at the stake himself. I know the hypocrisy is unbelievable, truly. Howie, and I have big news for you here. The CDC, they flip-flop more than John Kerry. They're now saying coronavirus does not spread easily via contaminated surfaces. So all those people who've been wiping down their groceries and wiping doorknobs and wiping countertops, not saying that it's not helping in some way, but I guess it's not spreading as easily.
So
or
can all the
transmittable.
affected restaurants like the 110 Grill and Monica's and everybody else, can they have more than 25 or 50% capacity now?
Check by the CDC. We'll have to wait for them to tell us. When we get back, Howie, I have updates on the coronavirus relief in California and also some Joe Biden updates. I have a really good column from Free Beacon. It's called the Teflon Campaign. And it's all about how usually you have Teflon candidates, but this is the first time we've had a real campaign that doesn't seem to move up or down based off, the extremes that the candidates are doing. Grace's News is brought to you by Boomer Naturals face coverings. Charlie Parker has spoken, and I don't think he spoke today again, though, Howie, did he?
He may have been available. No, I don't think he did. He didn't have a formal press conference. He went down to some factory somewhere.
Oh, got it. Okay. Charlie Parker has spoken, and now you need a face covering. So get a comfortable one at HowieCarrshow.com. When you click on the Boomer Naturals banner, you can save 20% with code word HowieCarr20. And guys, you do want one of these. They're soft, they're breathable, and you need one. I was walking down the stairs today because I was about to go to Mighty Subs and get a Greek salad with chicken. It's unbelievable. And
little did you know the food that was coming in.
I know, but I made room. And, I persevere, Howie, through these tough times. And so I'm walking down the stairs and I see our UPS guy and he has a mask on his face. And I remembered when I got all the way down the stairs when I saw him and I just let out this massive sigh. And he said to me, "You don't know how many people see me and start to sigh because they forgot theirs and they have to turn around and walk back." And I said, "Well, I'm glad I saw you now." But I went up the stairs. I grabbed a fresh Boomer Naturals mask and I didn't get stopped by Charlie Parker's police. So make sure you go to howiecarrshow.com and get one.
Welcome to Massachusetts. We all shop online a lot, right, Grace?
Oh, too much. I bought a pair of Birkenstocks yesterday and I saved a lot of money, Howie.
And you saved the money because you were using Honey.
Yes, I did.
Tell us how it works, Grace.
So it's an add-on. Basically, it's an extension of your browser. You download it one time and then it sits at the top. It has an H on it. You click on it and it will say, "Do you want to save money?" Click on it and it will add in any promo codes that you might be missing. I save money on shoes, on bathing suits, on leggings, on makeup. Side note, I buy too many things.
How much did you save on the Birkenstocks?
I saved $15 on the Birkenstocks. They're very expensive, Howie, so 15 was a good amount.
Honey is the free online shopping tool that will enable you to save money on Birkenstocks, a hippie shoe, or anything else. It finds the best promo codes, as Grace just said, applies them to your cart.
Did you just slip in an insult into my shoe wear during this Honey ad? They're a very chic shoe, Howie. They're metallic silver. They're not hippies.
I know my late mother gave me some Birkenstocks once, and I wore them to the Herald. And a female intern said, "Mr. Carr, were you a hippie in the '60s?"
And what did she say about your black toe? Because we know that had to be part of the story.
Well, let's move along. Just download Honey to your computer and shop on all your favorite websites like normal. When you check out, just click the little apply coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey works on nearly every online store, including Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Macy's, Etsy, and more, even on hippie shoes. Honey has found over $2 billion in savings. That's why it has over 100,000 five-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. It's 100% free to use and installs in just a few seconds. Plus, it's backed by PayPal, so you know it's secure and reliable. Get Honey for free. It's a great deal. It'll save you a lot of dough at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
He's the moist.
Sold out of 110 again.
Wow, that was fast. Good.
Howie says it all the time. When it comes to bad politicians, Massachusetts takes the cake.
It is my honor to introduce to you your senator, my senator, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I know who I am because of what my mother and my father told me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Governor Deval Patrick.
And frankly, I got to tell you, with all the other things I'm worrying about, this is not one of them. We're going to be fine. I'm in charge.
Please join me in welcoming our own Senator Ed Markey.
The planet is running a fever. There are no emergency rooms for planets.
The very first African-American congresswoman to be elected from Massachusetts, Ayanna Pressley.
We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
Let's give him a great Waterloo reception. God, Perry.
The Yankees posted the Boston Red Sox logo and they sang Sweet Adeline.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Joe Biden might be running for president in 2020, so we should play some of his greatest hits.
Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. Correct. It was a big mistake when it was made. We thought we were told by the experts that crack, you never go back.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts. They're going to put you all back in chains.
Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
The 3-letter word, jobs. Jobs. Jobs.
One man stands ready to deliver change we desperately need. A man I'm proud to call my friend. A man who will be the next president of the United States, Barack America.
This is Alex from East Bridgewater, Mass.
This is Ann in Saco, Maine.
This is John Succo from Hanson, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
Thank you for letting me be my masked self. All right, back to Grace's news.
Yes, indeedy. Undocumented immigrants in California now eligible for coronavirus relief.
Oh, that's a load off my mind.
Double sound effect. I love it, Taylor. Illegal immigrants living in California can begin applying for financial assistance as part of a statewide relief effort to help those without legal status access disaster relief.
Without legal status. That's a good way to put it.
It's all semantics nowadays. This $75 million landmark relief program is the first of its kind, offering payments of $500 per person and up to $1,000 per household. Launched by Governor Gavin Newsom last month.
Did you see how much the state of California's budget is out of whack, Grace?
I can only imagine.
$54 billion.
This is the problem when
54 billion. That's 9 times what the budget of New York State is out of whack.
And all of these states that have been running or all of these governors or politicians who have been running their states into the ground are now using this coronavirus as a way to say, we need help with our budget and we need relief for this and that, when really this was happening long before the pandemic.
Did you see, I didn't see this over the weekend, but apparently Newsom said on CNN that unless they get their money, unless they get the federal bailout for their $54 billion deficit, the first people laid off will be the first responders, the folks who are out there. This is a quote: "The folks who are out there, the true heroes of this pandemic, are healthcare workers and nurses. They're the first ones to be laid off."
Why doesn't he lay off some of his staff?
Right. Why don't they do so? Why don't they cut the pensions of they have the worst run, even worse run pension system than Massachusetts. It's more indebted than ours. And why don't they just stop giving billions of dollars to all these illegal aliens? They probably got 10 million illegal aliens and probably 8 million of them are on welfare of one form or another.
I don't think the provost to the assistant to the regional manager of Gavin Newsom's office is going to save any lives. I think they should leave the doctors in charge and then lay off some of their own staff.
Grace, it's called taking a hostage, So they're taking the people everybody likes as hostages so they can protect their constituents who are illegal aliens and criminals and hacks with huge pensions.
Wait, I thought it was the Republicans that always hold the Dreamers hostage.
No, Gavin Newsom is pretty bad.
Just when you think Gavin Newsom's bad, I'm going to tell you something that's going to make you think Governor Cuomo is worse. He was asked about the deaths in nursing homes because I think New Jersey and New York have had the most deaths in nursing homes, and probably number 3 is Massachusetts.
Yes, definitely.
I would guess.
Yes.
And he basically said, ask President Trump. He's been changing his tune every week. They'll ask him and he'll say, there's nothing we can do. It's, this is what happens. Older people are going to die. And then he says it's nobody's fault. And then he says now, after being questioned and pushed, he's finally brought himself to the correct answer, which is Orange man bad. First, Governor Cuomo blamed nursing homes for a widely criticized directive from his health department. And now he's pawning it off on the White House. This is from the New York Post. Critics should ask President Trump about it, the governor said Wednesday, arguing that the federal government actually cooked up the mandate and that New York was just following Washington's lead. So it's funny because in this article, they point out this guy who has spent the last 3 years doing exactly the opposite of whatever Trump does is now saying the one mistake, the one big whopper in New York is because he was listening to President Trump. We're supposed to believe that.
God, it's nice to be a Democrat, isn't it?
I'm sure he'll go on with his brother Fredo tonight and do a little Smothers Brothers routine, and everyone will forget about all the nursing home deaths.
Grace, have I ever asked you, do you wonder why Kerry Kennedy cheated on Andrew Cuomo with a polo player?
Howard, you will not forget this damn polo player. Thanks for having me, Howie.
We'll be right back with the gym owner from Oxford, Massachusetts, in the home area of Pay to Play Polito. I'm Howie Carr.
It's nearly summer, and we here at Matthews Brothers are wondering where the heck spring went. We're as happy as clams to see things getting back to normal, but the past couple months haven't exactly been unproductive. For example, we got back in touch with a good buddy, the Nigerian Prince, called on Ralph in Bangalore a few times to check the status of our car's warranty, and started following the fascinating sport of professional dirt track marble racing. When we weren't doing that, we watched with pride as the rest of America responded to this once-in-a-generation crisis. Of course, there were the amazing first responders, but behind them were the combined forces of everyday Americans, the Paul Harfords and all the other truck drivers who kept things rolling, the Farmer Johns and all the Shadow Valley farms across the nation, and the grocery stores, even those with their one-way aisles. But mostly, we're proud of all our Matthews brothers and sisters who continue to stay focused on our role in supporting the construction industry by doing what we do best, making wicked awesome windows and doors. You can see those products, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy'd out.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you miss not eating big meals?
No, I don't. I can still eat what I used to eat. I just can't eat as much. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat that much. But no, it's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner since Pearl's passing?
Mr. Gooner is drowning his sorrows in food.
What is the most trouble you ever got into as a kid?
My father was giving me grief one time up at Moosehead Lake in Maine, and I threw a rock at him. He didn't much like that.
It's time for quarantine questions. You're up, Jared. What have you been eating the most during this quarantine?
I've been eating a lot of Indian food because that's all that's in the machine downstairs, and I'm really growing to like it.
What is your drink of choice during the lockdown?
My drink of choice, I'm definitely a Scotch guy. A nice Dewar's really does it for me.
What about a non?
One show? Star Trek The Next Generation. You can't go wrong. It's got everything you want. It's got high concept science fiction. It's got humanity. It's got great characters. It's the last truly great television show.
What is the biggest pet peeve about being at home?
I can see all the dirt that I don't clean, and it mocks me.
What is the biggest silver lining of staying at home?
I'd say wearing sweatpants, but I do that most of the time anyway. I'll say wearing my Spider-Man costume and not being judged.
What's one book you're loving right now?
I'm a big comic book guy, so I'm reading a lot of comic books. Right now, I'm going back over the classic Stan Lee, Steve Ditko Amazing Spider-Man run, about the first 40 issues.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
I had a cat named Dexter. That was my first pet. And then I had possession of two poodles when I lived in Palm Beach, Princess and Frisky. They weren't really my dogs, but I took care of them. They lived with me. So they were my dogs. I love those poodles.
When you were a kid, what was the best gift you ever received?
I got this wooden fort from FAO Schwartz in Palm Beach, about the age of 6 or 7, 10 soldiers to go along with it. Such a cool fort. I had that fort for like maybe close to 10 years.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Probably Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. I love it even more than The Godfather.
What is your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably chocolate ice cream, followed by vanilla ice cream, followed by coffee ice cream.
President Trump's life has changed a lot in the last couple of years, but one thing that remains consistent, his love for a good nickname.
What happened to Mini Mike? Where's he? Mini Mike, I've had him up to here. Sleepy Joe has no idea what he's even talking. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. Sleepy Joe, get off the stage, please. I don't think the guy's got a chance. Sleepy Joe, I don't think he's got it. I don't know. I think Sleepy Joe may be able to limp across the finish line. Crying Chuck. I don't want to say Crazy Nancy because if I say that, you're going to say it's a copy of Crazy Bernie, and that's no good. Who that judge? Alfred E. Newman. You know, I thought Pocahontas was gone, left in embers. I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year. Did you ever hear Pocahontas? It's Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren. Little pencil neck Adam Schiff. Got the smallest, thinnest neck I've ever seen. But Nancy Pelosi, I call her Nervous Nancy. Crooked Hillary. Crooked Hillary Clinton. Bill Clinton said to Crooked Hillary. Crooked Hillary, do you think he calls her Crooked Hillary, Mike?
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show. You can call him Fat Boy, just don't call him late for dinner. He's Howie Carr.
We will bring over your entire family from the third world Muslim hellhole that they live in so that they can have an all expenses paid, taxpayer funded with open bar weekend at a nice hotel in Boston, get a nice sightseeing tour, maybe take them to Fenway Park for a game so they can see their savage Muslim terrorist kinsman sentenced to death. But the president of the United States of America can't be allowed to speak before Parliament because he's such a terrible barbarian, as opposed to the dictator of Red China. And I'm going to call it Red China. Since the Dems are down on Russia, we might as well go after all the communist dictatorships that are left, right? Russia isn't even a communist dictatorship; it's just authoritarian now. But let's call it Red China. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases, people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate,
Howie Carr.
On the stairs and I tripped on it and broke my foot. I lost a tooth playing touch football when I was just out of Deerfield. I got smacked in the jaw. My tooth went up and I still have a bridge, a crown from that mishap. I have a replacement.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, had what is morbidly obese.
Oh, I don't respond to her. I think she's a waste of time.
A few moments later.
Pelosi is a sick woman. She's got a lot of problems, a lot of mental problems.
You're asking me about the appropriateness of the actions of this president of the United States? He comes in with doggy do on his shoes.
Oh, it's all right. I'm sure that we can handle this situation maturely, just like the responsible adults that we are. Isn't that right, Mr. Poopy Pants?
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Yesterday, I met with the General Prosecutor Soto.
Yeah.
And despite of the fact that we didn't have any corruption charge, he bring me the written statement of his resignation.
Great.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
I am prepared to do a public signing of the commitment for the $1 billion. Again, I'm not suggesting that that's what you want or don't want.
Listen carefully and watch me wink as I speak, okay?
I'm just suggesting that that's what we're prepared to do.
Unchained and unstoppable.
We're going to create a new bio-based multi-manufacturing job.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. The insurrection against the police state tactics of this current administration in Boston is picking up steam. I think there's a lot of blowback. I think that's why the governor has been MIA to a certain degree ever since his pathetic press conference with Pay to Play on Monday. And there are people that are reacting, that are opening up anyway. And in many states, the people that are sort of leading it are, some places they're the barbers or restaurants. In other places, it's the gyms, like in New Jersey. And now a gym has reopened in Massachusetts, and it's the Prime Fitness in Oxford, which is in Worcester County, which is the bailiwick of Pay to Play Polito, the lieutenant governor. And the gym is run and owned by David Blondin, and he's on the line with us now. David, thanks for being with us.
Yes.
And thanks for doing the right thing. What's your legal status right now? And is Prime Fitness open?
We are still open. We have been open since Monday. Full parking lot, both yesterday and today, which was good. But I got a fine today for $300, and they made it out to the wrong address.
Now, was this delivered by this person, Thomas Purcell from the Oxford Board of Health?
It was.
I saw his picture on Turtle Boy Sports, and his Turtle Boy described him as looking like a pork roll.
Yeah, so he actually came in with a mask today because we called him out on that. So
yeah, well, yesterday he was. They got pictures on Turtle Boy. This guy, he's enforcing the cootie regulations to prevent the spread of the virus, and he shows up without a mask, and he weighs 300 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
He looks like he ought to be working out in your gym. Why don't you give him a complimentary membership, and maybe he won't show up with another citation for you tomorrow.
Honestly, I wonder if that would work. Honestly.
And then I was reading the story today in the Herald, and I saw the town manager is named Jennifer Callahan, and I said, geez, that name kind of rings a vague bell in my mind. And then I realized she's a former hack state representative.
Oh.
So she lost. She ran for the Senate, I think, the state Senate against Ryan Fatman. She lost. So she obviously couldn't get a real job like running a gym. Another one that she ought to be in a gym. And so they gave her this hack job as town manager, and now she thinks she's the queen of the May.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do? What are they telling you? I mean, what are your customers telling you? Your clients?
All my customers, honestly, gyms from all over the world, they're all supporting me 100%. Tell me to, don't step down, keep going. We're over $10,000 in donations so far since of yesterday.
Oh, that's great. So where can people go if you got a GoFundMe page?
So we have a GoFundMe page. It's under Reopening Gyms. It should be right under there to find it.
Yeah, and so has the pork roll or the former Solon told you that they're going to come after you harder? Are they going to try to get a criminal complaint against you or anything like that?
Honestly, I think what they're going to try to do is they're trying to scare me, honestly, because I know for a fact that they cannot do anything to me.
You mean it criminally?
Criminally, right? Because as soon as it goes to federal court, they'll drop everything.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the other, you have two options, I think, Dave Mlondon. One is to go to federal court, like the gun shops did, like the churches were going to do. The other option is just hire a lobbyist, and then you'll be open like the day later. I don't know if you got that kind of money, but if you and a bunch of gyms get together, I mean, just spread around some cash, and everything will open up, just like with the golf courses, right?
Yeah. I actually spoke with her, the golf course owner, yesterday. She was very nice.
I can give you the name of the guy. He used to be a Boston city councilor. He used to be a district attorney. I mean, there's nothing illegal about hiring a lobbyist. I mean, again, it's pay to play, right?
Right. Absolutely. I agree.
So what made you decide to be the first person to sort of step out in this field of health clubs?
Honestly, I didn't see anybody else in Massachusetts that was willing to step up. A lot of gyms, unfortunately, are chain gyms, and you guys have some smaller gyms, and I know they, it's just, I didn't see anybody else doing it, and, we went past, 8 weeks, it was 2 months, and enough is enough. Business has got to start reopening again.
So now, so you took in no money for how long? For 8 weeks, 10 weeks? How long?
8 weeks, a lost revenue of about 100,000.
And so you, of course, had to continue paying your rent, right?
So luckily I got funded through the PPP, but that only covers, your rent, your utilities, and your payroll. So my employees were able to get paid, and I was able to pay my rent. But as of this week's payroll, it's gone. What am I supposed to do now?
Right. So did anyone advise you not to do it, like your lawyer or members of your family or anybody like that?
No, my lawyer said, let's, I'm right behind you. Let's go.
And if you have to, you go to federal court.
Absolutely. Yep. I'll do whatever it takes.
Have you spoken to the former state rep who now has a hack job at town hall?
No, I think the town already didn't like me to begin with, to be honest with you.
Why?
So when I opened this building, it was a big abandoned building. They gave me so much crap for opening this thing, ripping things apart. I tore apart the whole building. And then when it's done and they see the parking lot full, they leave me alone.
Yeah, I mean, why would they be opposed to taking an abandoned building and making it into a going business? They got to get more tax revenue that way than having an abandoned warehouse or whatever it was, right?
Right, and they're trying to whack me for everything, like codes here and codes there, and just like it was insane.
So
But once it was all said and done and the business was going, they just gave up and they just stopped coming in.
And how do you get along with this guy Purcell, the fat guy from the Board of Health?
So he's he's new actually. So that was probably only the second time I met him was this week.
Mm-hmm. Well, if they got an all-you-can-eat buffet in Oxford, when the restaurants reopen, you'll be seeing him there all the time.
Did he offer him a membership?
I'm telling you, I think you got to give that guy a membership.
I know.
He might be there. He might be there about 12 hours a day, though. That's the thing. It
really did look good all over social media with that video up there, and everyone commented the same thing that you're saying. This guy's the health inspector.
I think this is the MO across the state, though, Dave. I think more health inspectors look like him than like I don't know, somebody who's in any kind of physical shape.
Right, and I'm not saying you got to be in tip top shape, but come on.
Right. Someone says, so a fat woman who lost to Ryan Fat Man, who is not fat, is supporting a fat man from the Board of Health who is fat. You can't make this stuff up.
Oh, man.
I don't want to get you in any more trouble, Dave. But I don't think you're in any trouble. You don't sound like you're in any trouble. You don't sound too worried to me.
No, I sound pretty honestly with the people that I have behind me, and I've had lawyers reach out to me, pro bono work and stuff like that, and even if I tell them I already have a lawyer, and they say just know you will win, you will not lose this.
Yeah. So have you heard from any more gym operators today?
I did. So actually, I'll put this out there today for these guys. Help them out. Let me get the name for you. A gym in Mass actually did open today. It is Body Armor in, let's see. I don't know. There's another gym in Massachusetts I know opened today that they might have took the post down, but I guess they came to try to shut him down, and he said no, and they kept the doors open.
That's good. Well, I hope people will take up in your wake. And take up your cue. And so give us the address again if people want to contribute to your GoFundMe page.
So just go to GoFundMe and just look for reopening gyms, and you should find it right on there. Also on the Prime Nutrition page, as well as my Facebook page, it's on there as well.
And if you want to, if you live in Worcester County in the Oxford area, you can join up as a member of Prime Fitness, right?
Yes. Right now, we're only accepting members due to this whole thing, obviously. Once things chill out, then of course. But I'm keeping it to members only so I can limit the flow of people coming through.
Okay. David Blondin, thanks for being with us. And tomorrow when the health inspector, Mr. Purcell, arrives, maybe you should have a couple of donuts ready for him.
I will do that.
All right. Thanks, David Blondin from Prime Fitness in Oxford. 844-500-4240. You got to see these pictures of this guy. I mean, so much of that. I mean, they're ruining the economy, but you got to laugh because some of this stuff is like out of Central Casting or maybe a Mel Brooks or a Monty Python movie. I mean, it's just, we're going to have a health inspector. He weighs 300 pounds. That's the way it goes. I'm Howie Carr.
Give it here, chumps. More Howie Carr after this.
Do you have no water, poor water quality, or low pressure? This is Howie Carr. Call the local water service experts, Skillings & Sons. They're ready with 24-hour service with no extra charge for after-hours calls and a fleet of trucks stocked with parts to make sure you're not without water. With over 50 years of experience, they take pride in having a family of employees that are the best in the business. For all things water, Skillings & Sons is there for you. skillingsandsons.com. Cape Gunworks has been approved to reopen their virtual online classes. If you're looking to get your certification in firearms safety training, these classes are the perfect resource. They're also great for experienced gun owners who need to get recertified in safety. These virtual classes will fill up quickly, so sign up today. To learn more about the online classes, go to capegunworks.com. That's have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words. John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were two. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, which she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe of being there. I really felt like King Farouk, I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
I can't really say what the best interview I ever had, but one that just occurred to me was Jesse Helms, the senator from North Carolina. I interviewed him one time, and he went to high school with my mother in Monroe, North Carolina. And the first words out of his mouth were, "Howie, I know your mother before you knew your mother."
Hi, this is Val from Longmeadow, Mass.
Hi, this is Tony and Pietra from Haverhill, Massachusetts.
This is Myrnie in Fairfax County, Virginia, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company that I trust. Give them a call today to get a free, no obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will you go to a restaurant if you have to wear a mask while you're not eating?
No, I won't go.
82% say they won't go either.
All right. 844-500-4242. By the way, we sold out very quickly of the 110 grill, the extra gift certificates that we had. But, stay tuned. We'll have more of all kinds of great cheap bastard deals. And we thank 110 Grill and Robert Walker. 844-500-4242. We haven't taken many calls today. Let's take a few. Bob, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, Howie, Bob on the Cape. I just spoke with Grace, and a few minutes ago, well, about an hour ago, I should say, actually, I ordered 2 holsters for a couple of my guns from a company called Alabama Holsters down near Mobile, Alabama. Check them out on the web. But you know what the guy said to me? He said, "Oh, you're up in Massachusetts. We listen to Howie Carr all the time in the shop, and we love Grace Curley."
What is the name of the company?
Alabama Holsters.
Hey, Alabama Holsters. We love having y'all listening and watching the show. I appreciate that, Bob. That's great.
Yeah, Yeah, they're down near the Gulf of Mexico, down there near Mobile, Alabama. They're a great company. I've gotten some stuff from them in the past, but the guy was like, hey, I love Howie Carr. We listen to him all the time here in the shop, and we love Grace. And the other thing is I spoke with your last guest, David, last night, and told him that I was supporting him. And I also called the Oxford Police Department and spoke with them. And I asked them to stand down and not support these unconstitutional edicts against people like David. And David told me, he's like, we need more people like you to support us.
Yeah, I don't think the cops are going to bother him. I don't think the cops like this police state tactics that are going on one little bit. I mean, do you think the cops need to hassle legitimate people, businessmen who are paying their taxes? You know?
Yeah, and trying to feed their families. Forget about it. So anyway, maybe the guys at Alabama Holsters could be one of your sponsors, or you could promote them. But they gave a shout out to you today, and it was completely unexpected as I was ordering my holsters, and they said that they really love Grace and Howie Carr.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Bob. Thanks for giving us that information. Grace is becoming famous. Mr. Garcia, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Mr. Garcia.
Hello. Hi. How you doing, Howard? This is Mr. Garcia, Newark. I want to ask you a question because the hospital, I spoke to a nurse this morning. He told me the hospital, she worked in the 4th floor, and normally the 4th floor had 50 patients. Right now, we have 21 patients in the hospital dropping down because we got COVID-19. Sorry. I want to ask you a question. Why are you hiking the number every time? And I don't know what the hell going on.
I know. No, does anybody believe these numbers that they're coming up with? Today, someone just told me that they had a higher count in Worcester, and they said it was because there was a backlog. What does that mean? What does a backlog of deaths mean? And again, you got these coroners all over the country, these county coroners. They're going on to the daily updates that the state makes, and they're reading that there's a COVID-19 fatality in their county, and they know it's not true because they see all the death certificates. This has happened in Pennsylvania. It's happened in Colorado. I'm sure it's happened in other states. They're just making it up. I think I told you the other day, I was talking to a nurse in Palm Beach, and she said that she has a friend that works up in New Haven at the Yale Medical Center, and there was somebody who was brought in there, had been hit by a truck, and they put him down for COVID-19. You know, I guess if you have any trace of it in your blood, they'll put you down as COVID-19, even though 98% of the people who get COVID-19 or who test positive don't die of it. But if you get hit by a truck, or you drink yourself to death, or you get a bad dose of fentanyl, you're going to be listed as a COVID-19 victim. And they'll keep the gyms shut down another day. Dependable Lock Service in Nashua is your local Liberty Safe dealer. And with over 100 safes in stock, they can help you protect what is valuable to you. Although the store is temporarily closed to keep everyone healthy, you don't need to wait to get what you need. Call the owners, Bill and Gail, and set a time to view a Liberty Safe that's right for you. Deliveries can be made in-home or curbside. Visit LibertySafeNH.com or call Dependable Lock Service at 603-886-0559 to set up an appointment. CDC guidelines apply to ensure safety. Face coverings are the new normal, but the kind you use really matters because not all offer the same protection. Boomer Naturals has a highly recommended consumer covering. It's 3 layers of ultra soft and breathable cloth, and it comes in sizes for both adults and children. This cotton polyester blend cloth is made for use up to 30 days when hand washed between uses. Order now at boomernaturals.com. Use code HowieCarr20 at checkout and save 20%. Get free shipping and handling on any order over $50. The Democrat Party is so full of loonies, social justice warriors, progressives, whatever you want to call them, that sometimes certain moonbats get overlooked. So let's take this moment to shine the woke spotlight on Crazy Mazie Hirono.
I am not going to be a fool to Mitch McConnell's shenanigans. Why should any of us? And It's not just a dog whistle, it's a bullhorn. Bullhorns. It's racism. It's basically, for many people, it's anti-Semitic. It's white supremacy.
Why not take a stand and vote yes for it? Seems like you're trying to have it both ways, not be hung by it politically, but also not say that you don't support it.
I disagree with you, Katie, that why should we engage in the kind of sham shenanigans that Mitch McConnell is really good at? I'm confused. This was just a sham. Guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of actions? It's the men in this country. And I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up. I think the noose is closing. And, Giuliani is like a loose cannon. And so is the president, frankly.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
People are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
Your teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts, I get in trouble some things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, it goes to my heart, and then I articulate it. And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
And now, another minute of Madam Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't...
You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
It's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame. Except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
I had the job of getting out $84 billion in 18 months in the Recovery Act. We had an inspector general I worked with once a week to look at everything we did, exactly where the money went, who got the money, who was responsible for it, and how it was being spent. So we kept an eye on it.
He said he was in charge of that, keeping an eye on it, but he thought it was $84 billion. It was actually $800 billion. And then he wants a food program, but there's a slight problem with that too, because the program's already been enacted, cut 3.
And we got to look. He could have ordered the president could have ordered the government to buy food from farmers and send it to food banks, but he failed to step up.
Didn't he just announce that a few days ago? It was in the headlines, Joe. Don't you get the paper delivered to the basement, or don't you?
The fact is that I don't remember.
It's like that stupid reporter. What's her name? From the CBS yesterday. What are you going to do for the 36 million Americans who've lost their jobs? And he'd announced the plan. What? A month ago? A month ago? Okay. Biden is referring to his notes at the virtual town hall, cut 8.
And there's a lot we can do that related to what has already been passed with small businesses that the president just hasn't done. And look, the combination of failing to move quickly.
Can we quote you on that, Mr. Vice President? Let's talk about what you would do, cut 7.
And we're going to create a new bio-based multi-manufacturing job environment to deal farmers in on the benefits of a changing economy.
Changing economy. Jay from Maine, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jay.
Hi, Howie. Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to relate the fact that I was able to get a haircut after 10 weeks. But the interesting thing was I had to go in after signing a sign-up sheet and being called in by the barber, and then had to answer questions. Had I been exposed to the coronavirus? Was I suffering any symptoms? And had I gone out of state? Well, I work in New Hampshire every day of the week. So yes, I did go out of state. But you know what the barber said? He said, so the answer is no, because I'm going to cut your hair. And then he locked the door and cut my hair.
You know, Jay, isn't this a lot like what you read in history books about prohibition? When you pass stupid laws, people begin to break those laws. And pretty soon they get in the habit of breaking other laws. It's kind of a recurring theme in history, isn't it?
Absolutely. You can't keep a good man down. And this barber of mine is a good man.
Yeah. I'm glad you got a haircut, Jay. And you know, what's the death toll up to in Maine now? 70?
Something like that.
The whole state is in lockdown is into the third month of lockdown for 70 deaths. I wonder how many people have died of opioid overdoses in that same time frame. Probably more than 70, I'm going to guess.
Yes, a lot more. And we see the terrible signs, the electronic signs on the highway, emergency order, shelter at home, save lives, stay at home, absolutely crazy.
I know. Thanks for the call, Jay. Glad you got a haircut. 844-500-4242. There's a big salon down here, and it was supposedly closed for I don't know, 6 weeks or whatever it was that it was shut down here. And all they did was they took garbage bags and put them up in the front window. They were still open. And then the lockdown ended. The only difference was they just took down the garbage bags off the front windows. That's all. It's like a lot of the most popular bars in New York City into the 60s and even into the 60s, maybe not the 70s, were all speakeasies. As soon as it became legal, they just opened legally. It's the same thing. This doesn't work. See, this thing is as onerous as these ridiculous regulations are. They're not going to work. The only people that are at risk are people that need these licenses, and they're going to get, and I hate to say it, they're going to get shaken down, whether it's legally through hiring lobbyists or having to go to court, or whether it's just going to be some crooked health inspector or some crooked, town official shaking somebody down and saying he'll look the other way. I mean, this is going to happen. I said in my column today, if I were Andrew Lelling, the U.S. attorney in Boston, I would be impaneling a grand jury on spec. This is going to be like shooting fish in a barrel. This is what happened with the marijuana licenses when they started letting the mayors give them out. You saw what happened in Fall River. What happened in Boston over and over again with building permits and inspections. Yeah, you saw it. The probation department the state police, the registry of motor vehicles. This state is crooked and incompetent. They can't handle this. This is a playbook for maximum corruption, and it's all BS. That's why people don't mind violating the laws, because they know it's all BS. He went down. Tal Duvall and Pay to Play went down to Braintree today to this factory, Simmons Industries, and supposedly they've recalibrated and they're making some kind of stuff that's necessary. So they spoke about the need to wear masks while, of course, not wearing masks, and the need to social distance while they weren't social distancing. And then they were joined by the president of the company, a guy named Tim O'Keefe, Simmons Industries in Braintree. I looked him up. He lives in Hingham. You know where I looked him up? Office of Campaign and Political Finance. He actually didn't give all that much. How much do you think he gave to Tal Duvall, Taylor?
500.
You got it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not much. You know, he got a good deal. The guy at the Holyoke Soldiers Home, he had to pay $1,950 to get his job. David, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, David.
Hey, Howie, thank you for taking my call. Hey, Howie, I'm not talking Obama-type community organizing, but do you see a real genesis of civil disobedience? And what signs should I be looking for? I mean, you've got the knowledge and the experience. What are the signs of a real genesis of civil disobedience, you know?
Well, I mean, you're seeing it, aren't you? I mean, we just talked to that guy, David Blondin. I mean, you know, and again, he's just acting as a rational human being, but that's civil disobedience in this kind of police state that we find ourselves in.
I think it's got to be, I mean, it's almost like we got to be in front of Tal Duvall's house every day, beating drums 24 hours a day. I mean, I don't know what it takes. You know?
Listen, he announced these preposterous measures on Monday, and yesterday he was MIA. He was taking a lot of heat. He's not. This is not going over well. And down on the Cape, they're talking about, you know, it's some boards of selectmen are saying, well, we need a release from these idiotic regulations that Pay to Play came up with. And by the way, do you know what Pay to Play's family? You know what business they're in? They're in the construction industry. Did you see the construction industry was the first one to be freed up? What a coincidence, huh? What a coincidence! Just like the nursing homes. Tal Duvall whips through a bill last month to cap the civil liability for all the deaths in the nursing homes right after the nursing homes over the last few years have been giving him $52,000, $47,000 to the House Speaker who shepherded the bill through the legislature, $32,000 to Pay to Play Polito. You think everything's on the level? Hell no. Thanks, David. Mike, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Mike.
Howie, I believe that there's little or no scientific proof to base the current restrictions of the shutdown on.
I agree.
The restrictions are all based on somebody's opinion, not real facts, and we don't get any facts.
No, we don't. There was an interesting story today out of Britain. The guy went over the numbers here. I'm just looking up the stories here. Where is it? Okay, I've got it. This is from the UK. You know, that's where Neil Ferguson was from, and they said there were going to be 500,000 casualties. 95%, this is from something called The Critic, 95% of victims dying with COVID-19 have serious pre-existing conditions, not just background illnesses, but severe enough to be mentioned as causes of death on death certificates. The most prevalent are dementia and diabetes, a quarter of cases each, hypertension a fifth, and serious lung, kidney, or heart disease around a sixth each. In both the UK and Italy, the average victim had 3 comorbidities, 3 or more of those things, in other words, severe enough to be listed as the cause of death on a certificate. Again, this is from The Critic in the UK. With no serious pre-existing conditions, the youngish and healthy are far more likely to be hit by lightning. than to die of COVID-19. There were 49 people hit by lightning last year in the UK, and 33 people have died of COVID in England under the age of 40, only 3 under the age of 19. Among healthy under 60s, 253 people have died of COVID-19 in English hospitals. This compares to 400 non-suicide drownings per year in the UK. So you're twice as likely to drown in a swimming pool or in the ocean in the UK than you are to die of coronavirus if you're under the age of 60. COVID-19 has taken about 2/3 of the lives that British roads do every year, and we wouldn't think of outlawing driving, swimming, or going outside in a storm. It looks increasingly awkward to hear the Prime Minister quoting that forecast from Imperial College that were it not for the lockdown, the UK could have been looking at 500,000 deaths when now at the tail end of the epidemic, there are only 320,000 deaths worldwide. Neither Sweden nor Japan have locked down. So if the lockdown hypothesis were true, Stockholm would by now be a morgue, and Greater Tokyo, population 38 million, a necropolis. And then I mentioned this earlier in the day, the free Swedes have pointed out all along that a lockdown would be much easier to get into than out of. No kidding, says this guy from Britain. We're in an eel trap. We're in an eel trap here in Massachusetts as well. 844-500-4242. Let's see here. Kevin, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Kevin.
How you doing, Howie?
Good.
Yes, I got sick of this lockdown after 8 weeks. My yard could only look so good, so my wife and I had a carpe diem moment. Went down and rented a car, real cheap, out of Manchester Airport, far from the house. And we did a east to west drive. It was Niagara Falls last night, pretty empty. Walked around the falls. Now we're in the Notre Dame campus. Just happened to stop by here, and we're going to keep going to Yellowstone, Black Hills, Grand Canyon, and we're going to go all the way to LAX and then fly back and we visit our daughter. So we got sick of it.
The further west you go, you're going to be running. You're going to be running into free America.
I think we're already there, just about. Oh yeah. Once we get past Chicago, I told my wife that's the. We have to get past Chicago, and I know Minnesota's got some problems, but once we get into the Dakotas and all that, Wyoming, I can't wait for that. That's going to be real America. It's all opened up. I heard Deadwood's opened up out there in the Black Hills.
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore. But I'll tell you, one good thing I did see today. I told my wife, I've never seen so many trucks on the road. It's like a convoy on I-90 nonstop. Not a lot of cars, but a lot of trucks. So I think with this lockdown slowly becoming unglued and people starting to buy things, I think all these stores and warehouses are starting to stock back up again. That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to take as long to get rid of the lockdown that it did to get rid of prohibition. That took 12 years, you know. I don't think people are going to stand up for this, put up with it, I should say. But that's great. I hope you have a good time, and I think you're making the right decision. Thank you to Kevin. 844-500-4242. Let's see. Where is this article? It's called The Critic. See if we can. The guy says, "Don't tweet because I don't tweet." What do you want me to say? The headline is, "We're all in the big numbers now," and it's in The Critic. That's the name of the publication. So we'll tweet it out for you, and even if you don't tweet, so other people can see it. It's a pretty good story. There's a lot of good stories out there today that I haven't had a chance to get to. We'll get to them tomorrow. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
He's the guru of craft. It's Howie Carr.
Whether you're working from home or working on your fitness, you want what you're listening to be what you're listening to, not what your roommates or family are listening to. Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycons start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was co-founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Get 15% off your order at buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie for 15% off Raycon wireless earbuds. buyraycon.com/Howie.
He's New England's talk radio king. He's Howie Carr.
The only French term I like is sans culotte, without trousers. I used to describe Ted Kennedy as sans culotte because after the O'Bar incident, when he was wandering around down on the beach, with his 20th Scotch tumbler of the day in his hand, stumbling around with an off. He was just there, as the Michel Casson, Patch's date said. He was just there, without trousers, or as we say in Paris, sans culotte.
We've seen nothing that we can work, that I can work with President Bush on, and I'm disappointed because I thought that there might be some interest because of what he said in the campaign.
President Bush, this is your brain. This is your brain on Botox, okay? That's the lesson of that one. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name VB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever. And BB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what I mean? Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words.
This is Mark in Williston, Vermont.
This is Marie in Somerville, Massachusetts.
This is Mike from South Attleboro, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
We gotta get out of this place. If it's the last thing we ever do.
I identified with that song a lot in the 1960s when I was stuck at MCI Deerfield Academy. Now, if I were in Massachusetts, I would be identifying it with it even more. 978 says, Carr, my husband and I drove down to D.C. to visit our daughter last weekend. A lot of trucks, although many cars speeding excessively, and the cops seem not to pull them over. We live in Massachusetts. You know, there was a story in the Herald today that there are fewer tickets being written, but they're for more excessive speeds. People just get all excited and, put the pedal to the metal because there's not much traffic, or not as much traffic. Incidentally, I know a lot of people have been inquiring about the situation with the bottle bill and the fact that they're still collecting the nickels and dimes, but they're not giving you a chance to redeem the bottles and cans. I finally started making some calls today. I'm not getting a lot of response, shall we say. I really want to find out how much money they have grabbed. And it's the initial press release came from Department of Environmental Protection, DEP. But they say that I'm going to have to talk to the DOR, Department of Revenue, to find out how much money they've stolen. Can you imagine that? They make you pay as a deposit, and then they refuse to give you back the deposit when you return that product that you paid the deposit on. If somebody in the private sector tried this, they'd be calling the bunco squad, or maybe the Securities and Exchange Commission. But it's the state that's doing it. It's okay. It's okay. I love it. They say consumers. This is the original press release. Consumers are encouraged to put to hold on to their deposit containers for redemption at a later date, or to recycle these containers with existing household recycling. In other words, throw them in the trash. That's what they want you to do, is throw them in the trash, because if you throw them in the trash, you'll never get your nickel back. And if you don't get your nickel back, it's not kept by Market Basket or Stop and Shop. It goes to the state. It's called eschitage. It's an obscure medieval legal concept. Eschitage. They're cheating us. That's the origin of the word. I'm Howie Carr.